Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dyer's Place. Yes, I know it's been a while. I've had stuff to do. Anyway, tonight we're going to go ahead and do a sequel to one of the earlier streams we did. If you happen to recall, a few months back we did a stream entitled Our Favorite Lesser-Known NES Games. Well, now we're doing our favorite lesser-known Super NES games. And if you recall the last stream we did, which I don't blame you if you don't, it was a while ago, Mike was on vacation. Well, he just got back. And here he is. Mike? Oh, Mike.
I forgot to unmute. Fantastic. We're already after a great fucking start. I haven't been at this in a while. Well, oh, Jeebus.
Yep, Jeebus indeed. And
anyway, as I was saying, I didn't necessarily just come back. I've been here for a month and a half. But like you said, you've been doing a lot of stuff that certainly warrants not getting to another roundtable for a while. You've been more productive than I've been, at least. So,
well, indeed, I have.
Totally
I've been working on my new book. We're in the editing phase now, and we're almost done with that.
Nice.
So, and as you can see, also with us tonight is returning again for the umpteenth time, which is always cool because we love having him here, Jay.
Hi, Jay.
Welcome. Wow. Good to be here. Thank you.
All right.
Yar.
Now,
good to have you, man.
Now the question is...
Always good to be here.
Who's out there? Anybody?
Snarb is, at least.
Oh, really?
Did you see Snarb? Hey, Snarb.
Snarb. What up? Oh, thanks, Snarb. But keep in mind, book's not done yet. Once we get the editing done, then it's got to go through some more polishing and some additional critiquing from people who have not read it yet. That would be my writers group. So,
although, yes, I agree that
hey, Prime.
Snarb's saying, I've got shit to do, like Duke Nukem. Oh, hey, Prime, what up?
Speaking of which, let me let Mo know we're streaming. I forgot to tell her.
Oh, yes, good idea. Oh, right. I need to post in my groups as well. Again, we haven't been to this in some time, so...
It's, you cut us some slack because, well, we haven't done this in a while. So, yep.
They posted on Blue Sky as well.
Woohoo! Thank you, Jay.
Kind of broken it up though. I say, hey, come and join the podcast roundtable there, and I forgot to put the link, so the link is just a separate share.
Yeah, as long as people can see it. Now, I will say before we get into the main stuff here, regarding this, the next book I'm working on, that one's currently at about 60% complete, at least as far as rough draft is concerned. But once the editing is done on this one, I'll be picking back up with that one. Plus, I'm going to try and bounce around to the other two books I have in the works. I have so many books that I want to write, and I only have so much time in one day. So, well, hey, we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do. So let's see what's cooking, shall we?
Like to have a good food barbecue.
Huh.
I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, food.
Well, related to one of our other streams, the new Evil Dead movie is out now, apparently.
Oh, it's now?
Yes.
Shit, I thought it was like a few weeks yet.
No, I'm pretty sure it just came out.
Yep.
Dang.
So I'll have to see that at some point if I don't get to see it in theaters. Yes, there is a new Evil Dead. What's it, Evil Dead Burn?
Yep, Burn.
Yeah, Evil Dead Burn. And then the next one is in, I think, April next year, and that'll be Evil Dead Wrath, which is kind of a prequel.
And we'll have to do a sequel Evil Dead stream at some point where we talk about those movies.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. All right, thanks, Brian.
Much obliged, sir.
3 feet.
Yep. Oh, so let's see. Anything else of note to mention before we get into this? Well, I was in the hospital for a little while.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it's an ongoing issue that requires me to have home health care.
Damn.
But it's getting better. I'll say that much.
I'm glad about that.
Yep.
Good.
And in other news, I've been watching a couple of my favorite old sitcoms from the early 90s and early aughts. Get a Life and Greg the Bunny.
Greg the Bunny. Oh, I think I remember that one too.
Yeah, that had, who was in that? Eugene Levy, Seth Green, Sarah Silverman,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to say there was Corey Feldman guest starred in an episode.
Nice.
That's interesting.
Yeah, the whole idea is like a sitcom Roger Rabbit, but instead of them living with tunes, it's puppets.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's like-
Okay, I remember now. Yes.
Oh, nice. And as I was saying before we started the stream to Mike and Jay, Get a Life is one of the most unhinged shows I've ever seen, but in the best way.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Elliott just, I don't know how he was able to do all that, but he did. So, good stuff.
Bueno.
Indeed. All right,
No,
so anyone else kicking around so far?
I just see
Oh,
the two. Oh, Brandon showed
Hey,
up.
Brandon.
Brandon, hey, what's up?
Boy.
Yeah, we're back.
Ghostbusters. Yes, we're back.
You can blame Mike. He just got back from his vacation.
Yeah. I mean, a month and a half, but yes.
Yeah, I thought you said it was yesterday.
No, that's
Hey,
that
Sharon.
is not that is the opposite of yesterday.
It's the
Hey,
opposite.
Sharon, what is up?
Sharon's here, so I guess we can start the stream in earnest, which is
All
going to be about how much animal mascot characters are terrible and all their games are horrible.
Sparkster, though.
Yeah, Sparkster
Adventures.
Sparkster is an exception. So is High Seas Havoc. You know, Captain Lang.
There's always an exception.
Yeah, in this case too. Other than that, forget about it.
No, Ristar counts too, I would probably say. He's less of an animal and more of a star alien guy, but still.
Kind of, I guess. So, but no, we're not actually talking about that tonight. Like I said earlier, we're talking about our lesser-known favorite Super NES games. Mascots with Tood. Or angry guys. Astel. I never did get to... No, I think I actually have played that briefly.
A stall? Isn't that for the Saturn?
Yeah, pretty sure it is.
It
Yeah.
is, yes.
Side-scrolling adventure game.
I also
I
have...
put it, yeah.
There was
Oh,
also...
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying I enjoyed it.
Ah.
Beyond that.
I know there was also a Lemmings platformer that came out.
Yeah, Flink? The Adventures of Flink, I think, is the one?
No.
Or was it Lomax? It's
Lomax.
one of the two. I keep,
Lomax, I think
keep
it is.
freaking confusing those games all the time. I don't know why.
They both look very lush. I think they're both by Psygnosis.
Explain part of it.
Yeah. Snarb is a Lomax fan.
Needles.
Like,
I'd rather play that
And-
than Lemmings.
Yeah, I have beaten Lemmings on fun difficulty. Beyond that, it's really fucking hard.
I'm just... I don't know. I mean, Betty loves Lemmings. I just can't get into it. So...
Weird one. And I do have to admit, if there's anything that irritates me about the gameplay, it's how painfully much some
Hey, wait.
many of the later stages.
Is that
Oh,
Kate
hey,
I
Kate,
see?
what's up?
It is Kate. Hey,
It
Kate.
is, yes.
Huh?
Boy, what up?
welcome.
Yep.
But yeah, it annoys me how much later stages in Lemmings lean specifically on the builders and how imprecise and trial and error-y their whole shtick tends to be. So that kind of stopped me at the tricky difficulty. So it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, would you say it's at all similar to Krusty's Funhouse?
I haven't played that one much. I know it's a reskin of like an Atari action puzzle platformer game.
Ah,
But I guess there's a bit of similarity there. I don't know. I haven't played that one nearly as much as Lemmings, though. So.
yeah. The only reskin that I recall other than that, as far as puzzle platformers, would be the Incredible Tunes, which was
Yes.
given a Ghosts and Goblins skin.
Yes, that's freaking crazy. That's one of the most interesting, like, I guess you'd call it a crossover. I don't know exactly. But,
All I know is it never made it to our shores, and it's called Nazo Makamura. That's about all I can tell you. I tried playing it once, and I am just so totally lost.
and unfortunately, I'm not even sure. I'm not sure if it's ever gotten a translation. I'm going to guess no.
Probably not. All right. Well, we got a pretty good crowd here tonight. So,
Hey, everyone.
we can go ahead and kick it off then. So, all right, Jay, which game would you like to talk about first?
Well, this is not in, I guess, any particular order, but I'm going to just knock out one of the more obscure, I guess, RPGs on the system itself. Since I am an RPG guy, I might as well start it off with this. But it's a game called Arcana. It's a kind of a dungeon crawler role-playing game. Same vein as like D&D-ish, I guess you can say. What I liked about it is that the sprites are in these card system looking thing, with the HUD and all that. I like the story. The music was done by the same guy who did Kirby, which I only recently found that out.
Really?
Yeah, Jun Ishikawa. Hey, he did Hyperzone too.
Oh,
And I like that one quite a bit.
So I thought that was a kind of a neat little fun fact of the game is that that's same dude as who did Kirby, and at least in terms of music and HAL Laboratory. It's a tough RPG though. Like if any of your characters permanently die except for your elementals, it's game over. There's no real, very little save spots, especially in the dungeon. You have to literally leave and go back to town, save it there, and things like that. But it's just a beautiful game. It's very anime-esque too, which is another thing that I was getting heavily into at the time. So it just hit it for me. I just loved it. I loved almost everything about it. I loved the challenge. I loved the idea that it was a kind of a not exactly first person because you do see your sprites, but the movement is kind of first person, if that makes any sense. I don't know. It's just a fun game, fun little RPG that nobody really talks about. That's why I put it in this list. I don't know if it's in my top favorite games of all time, but I would have to give some credit and love to the game just because I barely hear about it, and I think it's done well. And if somebody wants a good challenging RPG, give it a shot. Never heard of Arcana. It's surreal using a card PG so early on before the recent trend of card-based games. Yeah, you're right, Snarb. It's just very unique style, especially at the time, and the music's great. You can't go wrong with it. But yeah, I guess that's my 2 cents on that for now. If I think of anything else, I might say it. But yeah, I don't know if anybody else has played it here.
Well, as everyone should know about me so far, I'm not an RPG guy in the slightest. But I do remember seeing full-page ads for it in video game magazines back in the day.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, and so since the same guy who composed for which say Kirby and Hyperzone,
Mhm.
does that mean it's a HAL game?
It is,
Yep.
yes.
Well, that
The
makes
HAL
sense
game.
then.
Yeah, HAL Laboratory, HAL America.
Nice.
Came out in '92, so it was still early-ish in the SNES library.
Mm-hmm.
So,
How about tracks? I remember seeing it right around then. The ads, anyway. But yeah, HAL. I guess that just goes to show they were doing pretty much whatever they wanted to at the time. It's like,
that's true.
I mean, they right around the same time they did a shooter for the Famicom. It was I can't pronounce it, but part of it's pronounced. It's like something SDF. I think is what it was.
Uchiban Keitai or whatever.
Yes.
I think I remember the thing you were talking about.
Yes, that game is really hard.
Gotcha.
So,
What is it about their games that just like give challenge? Because he also did I believe, the Adventures of Lolo, and that can get challenging.
yes, they did.
The Adventures of Lolo? You better have saved the receipt. Boo! Sorry, Homestar reference. That's all meant tonight. Maybe.
Bye, you Billy.
Exactly.
Oh, they also did Air Fortress. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes,
That's a good one.
Yeah,
I
Air
like what I
Fortress is
played
good.
with that one.
I think
I
they,
really love that game too.
yeah, Air Fortress
very
is great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so let's see then. Well, Mike, you have anything to say about Arcana?
Unfortunately, we're starting on a game that I probably have the least to say about out of any of the picks. I am more of an RPG guy than Rob, but less of one than Jay. He's probably more familiar with the more obscure RPGs that were not made by Squaresoft in the 90s. I'm kind of a basic bitch in that sense. But from what I've at least seen of Arcana... sorry, Jay, what was that?
I get say guilty as charged for me with the RPG thing.
I finished the original Phantasy Star.
And you
That's
recently
more than me.
And you recently beat Final Fantasy IV, so that's not anything to sneeze at.
I got
That's
one
true.
more to go to finish the trifecta of RPGs I'm going to finish.
That'd be Spider World.
That'd be the one.
Awesome. Anyway, that being said, what I have at least seen of Arcana, it seems like a pretty neat, stylish game. I do agree that having all the characters as cards, like, even in cutscenes, is kind of funny, but that does lend interesting sort of overall style to it. I admit, though, with a few exceptions, I feel it's a little hard for me to get into dungeon crawl RPGs specifically. And this one does seem to at least play that very straight, brutal difficulty and all. I've heard it gets really hard later. Also, if any human character dies, it's a game over, even if they're not the main character, which is really ball-punchingly harsh for RPG standards that I know.
Also,
You can only lose the elemental card summons. They can die,
huh.
but your characters, the human characters, no. That's what makes it much harder, and there's no safe spots in the dungeons. So,
Yeah, that is pretty tricky, to say the least. It sounds a little daunting for my abilities. That said, it does seem like one that's definitely worth giving a shot someday. I just wish I had more to say about it for now.
Side note, Brandon's talking about a rare Super NES game that was packaged to the Exertainment Mountain Rally and Speed Racer. I have heard of those. And I think they were only for use with some kind of exercise bike setup that was sold. I think the only thing you might find that's rare would be the Max. The one that Nintendo worked on for the U.S. military. They came packaged with an M16 light gun.
I'm not sure if I remember any of this. That's crazy.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it is real, Brandon. Because I've seen pictures, and I'm pretty sure they're not faked. I mean, I've been seeing them for a while now, going back years. But I have never even so much as seen them in person, obviously. I haven't seen the Max either, so...
You say the Max, all I can think of is that big purple and yellow guy.
No, it's spelled like this. MACS.
Gotcha. That sounds like that.
All right.
It does sound like military tech in that. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So, Mike, you're up next.
Alrighty. I think then we will start off my picks with a action platformer that I mean, there certainly have been a lot of those on the SNES, but there's just something about this one's style that I like. A little title known as Sky Blazer, if anyone's familiar with this. Like, I know it's by the same guys who did the Hook SNES game, which is far better than it has any right to be. That one I haven't played nearly enough. This one I have played to the end. It's it's an action platformer who's... trying to think what other game it reminds me of. For some reason, all I can think of now is the Capcom arcade game based on Willow is what it reminds me a bit of, but that's probably not a great comparison. Your guy, for the most part, doesn't have projectiles. He mostly just punches things. He does have some projectiles, but they're special moves, and he's very agile. Climbing walls and jumping over ledges is emphasized in the platforming itself. Like, one of the early stages has you jumping over fire pits already, which... it's a reasonably challenging game, but not one I feel that's insurmountable. You always feel like powerful enough to take on most things that come your way. And there are some pretty crazy boss fights in it. A lot of them make heavy use of Mode 7. Like this early one, which is this sort of genie that pops out of a lamp that shoots fireballs at you, but you have to hit the lamp itself. The genie is totally non-tangible. And then there's this like giant spiny eyeball monster that like wheels all around the arena repeatedly, but he gets bigger and bigger the more you hit him. It's like it reminds me of like another boss from Maju-O, I want to say is the game I'm thinking of. Yeah, and another boss, which is this big ugly face embedded in an ice wall that keeps revolving and trying to crush you against itself. That one is really fucking weird and crazy, and actually pretty violent for the SNES too. It's all goopy and bloody. But yeah, just Sky Blazer just looks really nice. Lots of awesome environments. Like again, just like describing it from a distance, there's probably like nothing super new in platformers around the time. Like you have your desert level, you have your ice level, you have your scaling the tower level with all the rotating Mode 7 parallax that implies, but it just controls really nice. It, for the most part, feels challenging but fair. It's not overly bullshit to deal with, I think. I mean, it's been a while since I played it, so, I can't speak to how normal it is to beat for most people, but I can assure you it is probably less brutal than your average Ghouls and Ghosts game. So, but yeah, it just Sky Blazer just looks and plays really nice. It's just a really overall solid game. I'm always up for just action platformers like this one. Like, Shatterhand on the SNES or Vice Project Doom are two I'm always willing to talk up. And Sky Blazer, I think, is an action game very much in the vein of games like that. So, yeah, if you're looking for a solid action title you have not played yet, Sky Blazer is one I would gladly recommend foremost.
Sky Blazer is a game I wish I'd kept.
Yeah.
I found it when you could still find multiple copies of it at any flea market for $6 a piece.
Oh, man.
That wasn't even a decade ago.
Yeah.
But, well, if anyone's been looking at the prices for that now, they're stupid.
Everything bad.
Pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
I never did get too far in it, though. I've actually had easier time beating Ghouls and Ghosts games.
That is okay. Maybe that was a poor comparison on my part then. Uh,
I just will.
For my abilities, I would call it easier than Super Ghouls and Ghosts, or at least like at least it moves faster than Super Ghouls and Ghosts, so that usually helps me keep up with it better.
And Super Ghouls is one of the easiest games in the Ghouls and Ghosts series.
Relatively speaking, yeah.
Well, and Ghouls and Ghosts is average as far as difficulty. Harder than Super Ghouls.
Yeah, that's the fairest of the series, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. And Ghosts and Goblins is just plain impossible. Forget it. You're not beating that game.
I had to resort to beating the Japanese version, which is actually easier than the Western version. For the arcade, anyway. I don't know about the infamous NES Micronics port, but
I choose level select and cheated my way to the end.
I do not blame you for that, sir. I do not.
Yeah, but Sky Blazer though, that was a really cool game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I just wish I'd held on to my copy, or bought up some of those other $6 copies so I could sell them now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Jay, what do you think about it?
I never played it.
Really?
I never even came across it. I didn't know it existed till a few years back. I've heard of it, but because of that reason, but I never actually played it. I just looked up kind of a video while you guys were talking just to get an idea of what it was, and I'm like, well, I must have slept on that somehow.
You gotta admit, it looks cool at least.
It does look cool, so it's something I wouldn't mind giving a shot.
Hey, you got a Super NES stream coming up and you need a game to play. There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, yes.
I love about these, get into ones that I've never heard of or never actually finished and just, retry it again. So.
Hey, you can't go wrong with that one. So, I think Mike and I can both wholly recommend that.
Yeah, if for some reason you don't like it, I will give you $5.
Well, these things happen. $8.
Yeah, that too. Maybe $8. Yeah, maybe I should make it $8 at this point. This is something I felt like doing, where I gambit on someone liking something. I tell them to go out of their way. If they don't like it, I give them money. Maybe I should make it $8 because that's a Simpsons quote I use a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I do not like Sky Blazer. Please insert
Exactly.
That's brilliant. I like that.
I should build a machine that does do that.
All right, I guess it's my turn then. So I am going to, for my first game, talk about one that actually has the balls to announce its own name during the music. That would be Run Saber.
It's a good track too.
I know Prime knows what I'm talking about. And seriously, this game takes every opportunity to say its own name.
Yeah, not just in the first stage music. Like, almost every track has it.
Mm-hmm. But the best way I can describe Run Saber is Strider for the Super NES. So, if you like Strider, you can't really go wrong with this game. And there are a few tricks that the Run Sabers have that the Striders don't. Like, you can actually do a kick in that game and you'll have an energy, burst coming out of your foot as you go down. Or you can turn into a energy buzzsaw at times. And you can actually power up your weapon, but unlike in Strider, it'll actually stay powered up until you get hit, if I remember correctly. Oh, and also you have magic spells. Now, there's no options to pick up like in Strider, but, doesn't really matter. It is not a difficult game in the slightest. You can go through it pretty easily. And you're basically going all over the world. You're trying to find some mad scientist named Bruford who's done some stuff and kill him.
And I remember that the heroes, Alan and Sheena, are apparently the second and third run sabers. There was a first by the name of Kurtz, but he went rogue. Kurtz went rogue, and you have to fight him 3 times throughout the game. I always like that sort of rival character thing that happens sometimes in games. It's a nice little touch.
So he pops up sometimes when you least expect him. But, you know, the locations you go through, it's like you start off in a kind of a military base, been overrun by, they're almost alien type of creatures. They look human. So it kind of has a bit of a Contra feel to it right there.
Yeah.
And the first boss is actually, you're on top of I think it's an F-16, and all the Mode 7's kicking in. You know, it'll go and do a loop, and you have to actually hang from the plane until it completes its loop. And then you see that this alien parasite or something is taking it over, starts popping out at different points of the plane. So you have to destroy each of those, and when you get to the final one, it'll actually come out and fly around. When you destroy that, then the plane kind of goes back into the distance and explodes as you jump to safety. And there's...
I feel like I heard that mutated plane with all the faces that pop out of it, I seem to remember hearing that was a reference to some sort of anime, like sci-fi horror anime of some sort, but damn if I can remember what that was supposed to be.
It's certainly possible.
Oh, Snarp said that it is likely a reference to Akira.
I believe that.
Was that something that happened in the graphic novel, specifically?
It might have. I've only read a couple of, you know.
Yes.
So.
Yes, I think Snarb is the one who told me about it, now that I think about that. So, yeah, there you have it.
Well, I can tell you that stage, I think 4. I think there's only 5 stages in the game.
It is a short play,
yeah.
So...
Stage 4 kind of reminds me of Castle in the Sky, the Studio Ghibli film.
Nice.
Even the boss in that is...
yeah, he looks like the robot. You're right.
Exactly. See, you see it.
Speaking of that boss, the Nintendo Power coverage of Run Saber denotes that boss's name is apparently Southern Jambalaya. Is this true?
I have no idea. But, hey, maybe.
Amazing if so.
The interesting thing, there's 2 interesting things about it, actually. One, the game was never released in Japan. It was advertised in Japan. They even had some kind of a gold controller it was supposed to be released with it or something like that. But the controller came out, and the game didn't.
Oh, that is a weird game to ascribe a special controller to. Mm-hmm. But I'm not complaining, but that's peculiar.
And the other thing was, there had been some, early preview shots of the game showing the second boss, which in the final version is this skeletal woman with pointy ears who summons these fire spirits come up, and she's like shooting things out of her fingers at you. Well, she was originally supposed to be an actual giant woman without any skeletal anything. So
I remember seeing that preview image in a Nintendo Power issue, yes.
Well, a few years back they found the prototype that has that.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Did that prototype have any other notable differences, or is that pretty much just the big one?
That's pretty much it. I couldn't tell any others when I played through it.
Dang. Very interesting, though.
Yeah. Yeah, Kate, you should go ahead and actually play through it. You'll blow through it really easily.
Yeah, Kate is very good at games. I'm sure she can squish it pretty easily.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt.
I don't know where Prime went. It's too bad, because we're talking about Run Saber. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well.
All right, Mike, you have anything else you would like to say about Run Saber?
Oh, there he is. It's not tough, but it's ridiculously replayable. Yeah, yep. I would say that. I can't really add too terribly much, I would say, except that there is one boss that is a falcon whose head you sever, and then he gets put on a bionic human body, and it is the craziest bullshit.
That is true.
Why not?
There's a lot of neat boss designs, and kind of like a treasure game, like every stage has like at least 3 bosses in it.
Yeah.
As I recall, and I do like fairly boss-heavy games like that. But yeah, I can't add too terribly much else to what Rob said. It is a solid, short, and just really stylish game with not with a good soundtrack that again has a voice saying "Run Saber" a lot throughout the music. It's most prominent in the first.
Run Saber.
I mean, yeah, that's even the victory music exactly. But
They're just really proud of the name. Huh?
But
Yeah.
some of Prime's chat messages didn't show up, unfortunately. I know these things happen.
Yeah,
He said he
unfortunately.
wondered if that game was going to be mentioned, and he wonders if the hero palette change trick inspired the one in the PlayStation Strider 2's port of Strider.
Yeah, it
Huh.
might have.
Oh, wow.
And
That's pretty neat if so.
to my knowledge, Prime, you're the only person I've ever known that has actually sprited the characters from Run Saber.
Yeah, Alan and Sheena. That's another bonus. If you've always been a Strider fan, but you want to play as a lady, then this game will allow you to do that.
Yeah. Something else
There's a
Riders
slight,
do.
yeah, I think there's also like a slight difference in Alan and Sheena's attacks. His is more horizontal, while hers is a bit more of a vertical spread, if I'm not mistaken. It's relatively subtle, but
He basically slices forward, straight forward, and she does hers in an arc.
yeah, exactly.
And it's like he's got the lightning power, she's got the ice power,
Nice.
and Kurtz is the flame power.
Yep. And he attacks you with like a Terry Bogard-esque fire wave, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But yeah, Run Saber, really neat game and short, and I recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And I'm gonna keep the chat window up here so I can see in case more messages don't show up.
okay,
So.
sounds good.
But yes, I see that now, Prime. So sorry I missed that before. Okay, now's the question, Jay. Have you ever played Run Saber?
Yes, I have. I
Ah.
think I even did it on the channel. I don't remember finishing it or anything like that. At first, I was thinking, have I played this before? When you started talking about like the whole Strider-esque of it, and I'm thinking, I must have. This sounds very familiar now. That I just quickly looked and like, yes, I have. I played this. I don't remember it very well because it's been a while since I have, but I want to go back to it because I did like the Strider games before, and this
Yeah.
was a lot of fun at the time. Yeah, I do want to finish it.
Yeah, sounds like a good time to maybe revisit it on a stream.
That sounds like
Absolutely.
a plan. I think I'm going to be going back to doing some SNES games for a while.
Yeah.
That sounds good, man.
You never unlocked Hien in Strider 2, Snarp? Oh, you could beat Strider 2.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, you could certainly credit feed your way through it.
Easiest way to do it.
Pretty much the only way to do it. If any, I do like Strider 2, just not as much as the first. But you know,
Strider
what
2
is
is
the original?
kind of a retread of the original. Yeah, sure, there's
In a way, yeah.
a few different set pieces, but there's also a few that were carried over. You know, I mean, the big run when you're running down the hill and the bombs are exploding behind you and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, Solo shows up more than once. you
That is true.
you
yes.
wind up on the third moon in the end.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you ride a multi-segmented boss.
yeah, the loading times, and I think it's actually the same way in the arcade.
Ow. Damn.
All right. Anyway, so Jay, what's your next pick?
Well, I'm going to talk about a game that I don't know how many people really like it. I enjoy it, but it's very sluggish, RPG-ish, mecha-ish game called Zardion.
Yeah.
Where you get
Before
to
you
play 3 different characters. Oh, sorry?
before you go into that, I just want to clarify one thing here. Prime, you talking about Strider 2 or Strider Returns here with Julie Bell?
It's covered by, let's see, Run Saber.
Oh, Run Saber. Okay, yeah, yeah. That's got Julie Bell's artwork all over it.
Very nice.
An interesting art cover.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anyway, you were saying about Zardion?
Oh yeah, sorry. So you play 3 different type of mech characters. Just typical action platforming, side-scrolling with RPG elements because you can gain levels and grind and things like that. The music's pretty good. It's a lot of fun to play. Again, it's another game that a lot of people don't talk about, or at least I don't see. I did play it a couple of days ago just to what's what I'm looking for? Get back into it again, and I can understand why people may not have liked it because it's kind of slow. It takes time to get your characters built up, but you can keep grinding the first level and whatnot. But it can be a little challenging too. I just enjoyed the game. I thought it was a lot of fun to bring RPG elements to a side-scrolling mecha game, even though part of it can have some shooter elements in there. I don't know what else I can say about it other than that. I don't know all the history about it. I just thought it was a neat mecha game that back in the day and had that RPG elements, which was what I was looking for a lot during those times because I was really getting into RPGs and I thought it was a neat idea to have a side-scrolling action RPG like that, especially when you're giant robots. So,
yeah. I remember seeing ads for that too, way back when, but I didn't play it then. I actually got a hold of a Super Famicom cartridge of it maybe 10 years ago. And I couldn't really get into it. And, well, I ended up selling the cart a couple years later. But I like the designs. I can tell you that.
Yeah, the mechs are really well designed, especially for the game.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But it certainly seemed interesting. I just couldn't do much with it. And I don't think it was a language barrier issue either. I think I just sucked at it.
Well, I get that. Well,
Mike, what are your thoughts on Zardion?
Well, I haven't really played it all that much. Pair of streamers I really like by the name of the Retro Pals actually did cover Zardion a few months back and played it all the way to the end even. And it's definitely a game with its interesting qualities, but it's also kind of stiff. Then again, it is by Jorudan, the same company who did Musia and the SNES Alien vs. Predator game, which certainly isn't the best pedigree.
Those purveyors of quality.
Yeah, it is probably what I would semi-derisively say about Jorudan, unfortunately.
It's probably the best out of those games.
I was going to say, yes, this is, I would say, better than those 2 aforementioned games. It at least has more sauce going for it. The mecha designs are interesting, and I if I'm not mistaken, like this game had some involvement from some actual manga artists, one of the guys who worked on Gundam, I want to say, had some input, and I think Studio Gainax or Gainax, however you pronounce it, they were involved in this somehow. I might be apocryphal, but I think that's something that I remember hearing about it. And it's definitely got some neat style to it, and it does have a few interesting developments, spoilers, don't get too used to the mech known as Panthera.
Oh, yeah.
That was actually kind of bold of them, I will say. As I remember, though, the game does get kind of grindy, especially in the latter phase of it. It takes a while to, you need something to reach the final boss, and I forget the details exactly, but...
well, you have to actually get Zardions, because Zardion is the main mech that you kind of amalgamate to it.
Yeah, and doesn't
and
that
it starts at level 1 when you first get it.
All right, Kate.
Ooh, yeah.
Thanks for stopping in.
Yes.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah, good to have you always, Kate. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you later. You take care for now. Have a good rest of the night.
Yep.
So yeah, you're right about the whole grindiness. Once you get Zardion, I always recommend going back to level 1, replay that a few times, and you can build up your level again. And game's hard.
Yeah, I did get the impression it definitely takes some patience to really get into, but the game is definitely not lacking for aesthetic, at least, and I do appreciate that about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the main reason why I put it on this list. It's just because it's very obscure, but it's an interesting game to give it a shot at the very least.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. That being said, I imagine that it does not quite surpass Assault Suits Falcon as far as mech games are concerned, but again, I'm being biased.
Well, we'll leave that at that. So, all right, Mike. Then, what are you going to hit us with next?
Which one? Diddly diddly do. Let's see. I usually try to go in more chronological order if possible, and I think I want to say the oldest one on here that I would say is the one RPG I chose among the 5 and is the source of my icon, Mr. Jake Armitage himself. The SNES RPG based on the hit pen and paper sci-fi fantasy series Shadowrun.
Ah, yes, the game I know virtually nothing about, either version.
I think that both the SNES and Genesis versions of Shadowrun are all really cool, unique RPGs. Not too much else feels like either of them. Heck, they feel pretty different apart from each other as well. And, well, I'll be talking more about the SNES one, but the Genesis one is really neat as well. That being said, I'm not really a pen and paper guy, and I haven't actually played the Shadowrun game itself proper, so I'm probably a little bit of a fraud, and there's a lot of things about the universe that likely goes over my head. But, aside from that, taking it for what it is, the whole premise of Shadowrun is that your guy, Jake, gets murked, so to speak, and revived at I believe they're formerly known as chop shops in the setting itself, which is pretty brutal. But you have to. What exactly do you have to do? I'm actually forgetting the story beats. That's very Mike of me to say. I mean, the story itself is pretty light, all things considered. But you do get to meet a dog spirit, and you get his magical powers, which that's like a thing in the Shadowrun series where you get like shamanistic powers from animal totems and whatnot. Apparently, the story is somewhat based on an actual novel set in the Shadowrun series called Never Deal with a Dragon, which that title does kind of spoil an ending twist, so to speak. But basically, you have to learn why you died and who did it, and have to not die and eventually get your revenge on the guy who did. That's just the basic premise. I don't think it's too much for like particularly elaborate story, but the style is just so neat. Like, it's got a really neat soundtrack. It doesn't look like many other games on the SNES, and I just really like the. It's not like William Gibson exactly, but it does have a really unique cyberpunk feeling that's very much unlike other RPGs at the time. But the thing with the catch with the Shadowrun series is that while it is set in like future Seattle, like 2050 or so, it also still has several things that you'd expect in like a much more traditional fantasy series, like There are hot elf hackers. There are big troll bodyguards.
And hey, Mo's here.
Actual dragons and like vampires and shit. There's an actual vampire you fight in this game. And hey, Mo, what is up? Always glad to have you. I just really like the unique atmosphere of Shadowrun, and it's a fairly extensive map to go over. But combat's also unique, where whenever it starts out, it just like happens without any transition on the overworld, and then you just start blasting, and you use guns, not swords, and once you have enough power, you can also use your magic and hit them with fireballs or whatever as per your shaman powers. But yeah, like, it does capture, I think, as much of the futuristic grit of, like, future Seattle that the Pen and Paper series bases itself in. As much grit as you could possibly get on the SNES. It is a pretty dark feeling game, and just like the atmosphere alone, I think is makes this more than worth playing. It just overall feels very unconventional from other RPGs at the time. And I do tend to be more of a sci-fi than like a medieval fantasy guy myself, so like I'm just kind of a nerd for all the buttons that this game pushes. Again, I wish I could speak more about the Pen and Paper series at length, but that's not usually my style. Although if I did, I'd probably be talking about this for way too long anyway. But Shadowrun on the SNES is a very solid game. In some ways, I like the Genesis game more, but I think this is the easier one to get into. So if you wanted any sort of form of the Shadowrun experience, I would say this is a very good game to at least get an idea of what the entire Shadowrun collective is about.
So you said one thing. It's not really like, was it William Gibson?
Yeah, it feels like it does have like some things that you would very much expect from a typical cyberpunk series, but like, William Gibson didn't have hot elf hackers in it, so.
Well, I guess that means there's no soundtrack by Devo either, huh?
Sadly no, but, if I could make it happen, that would, I think, add some interesting atmosphere to the game.
I'll say.
That being said, one more thing I also forgot to mention. This is a full-blown, very elaborate and actually competent RPG by the infamous Australian studio Beam Software. After making very many bad NES games, they at least put out Nightshade, which is a cult favorite of mine, before moving to the SNES, where they did a very good port of Smash TV, and a very surprisingly good game based on the movie True Lies, in addition to Shadowrun here. So it's like they were having something of a redemption arc at this point, which that like amazes me. These aren't the same guys who fucking gave us the fucking Back to the Future game on the NES. You would not tell this is the same guys who fucking did that, because this game's actually quality. What the hell?
Yeah, forgive my outburst earlier. I just heard the words Beam Software and my mind immediately just went, "Argh!"
I mean, that's the expected reaction. Normally they suck, but what the hell? This was actually really good. That's why I wanted to cover it too. I guess it just, goes to show that there's a redemption story waiting for potentially any other studio. Although, unfortunately, Beam, or Chrome Studios Melbourne, as they're later known, is dead now. Which I guess that's their past licensed game sins catching up to them, but what can you do? At least they gave us some good stuff at some point in their existence. So.
Broken clock and all that.
Exactly, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, and yeah, sorry, Brandon, that wasn't a belch. That was just a strangled kind of scream.
Yeah, a zombie yell.
Yeah. So, Jay, your thoughts on Shadowrun?
I enjoyed the game on the SNES. I actually forgot it came out on the Genesis.
Yeah, that was a completely separate game, and I think it was done by the guys who did Vector Man. I know it's obviously not a marker of quality for Rob.
Oh,
but,
God, no.
It is also a very interesting title, and it's a more elaborate game than the SNES one. I think it takes even more elements from the pen and paper RPG, but it is also a harsher and arguably less accessible game, so I would probably go for the SNES one first, but I think they're both worth playing.
Well, what I like about the the one I played in the SNES is that, like, especially at the time when you have a lot of fantasy RPGs and all that, this one came out and you're like, whoa, this is different. This is like more modernized or cyberpunkish or something to that effect. You know?
Exactly.
And it's more about the mystery, and you're looking around and trying to figure out what's happened, and then the whole amnesia side of things. And I like the character's style. He looks cool, you know. I thought, oh, this is kind of neat. I had never actually finished it, but that's just mostly because whenever I first played it, I was like, what, 10, 12, whenever it came out, something like that. I was a kid anyway. So my lack of mystery solving thing at the time, I was starting to get annoyed at because I couldn't figure out what to do in the game half the time. But I would go back to it, especially nowadays with the amount of RPGs and other type of games like that under my belt. I probably had a better thought process on how to play it. But
yeah,
aesthetically, it's really cool. I believe it's almost like an isometric style game.
Yeah.
And I recommend it. From what I remember, it was pretty fun. I want to go back to it and finish it sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Well, my SNES streams are building now. Great.
Well, in that case, let me hit you with my next choice.
Sweet.
I want to talk about one of the coolest games I've ever played. And it is a prequel to a Genesis game that I quite enjoyed and ended up being one of the very first budget titles I ever got for the Genesis. And the Genesis game over here was known as Target Earth. And the Super NES prequel was called Cybernator. But here's the thing. See, I'm not a huge fan of Cybernator. I'm more of a fan of the original Japanese version of Assault Suits Vulcan. And I do have reasons for that. That's where my icon came from there. That's the character you play in the game. And that little portrait, well, all the characters had these portraits in Vulcan, but they were all cut for the Super NES release of Cybernator. So it was just text. The game is mostly the same. Basically, you control this huge mech, and you're just blasting your way through each level, Contra style. As you pick up additional weapons that you can use, and it's not just like you pick up a weapon and it replaces your current one. No, you actually stockpile these things. There's even a secret weapon you can get if you do the right thing, which is also the most devastatingly powerful weapon in the entire game. Napalm. You have the ability to punch. You start off with a basic machine gun, which can be powered up. You also get laser and missiles as well. And at this point, it's like the last major world war on Earth. And you're fighting your way through everything. And the reason I mention that is because it does lead directly into the events of Target Earth. Or, as it was called in Japan, Assault Suits Lanos. And there are in a couple of the missions, there are certain things you have to do. And if you don't do them, they can affect the ending. Stage 3, if I remember correctly, takes place on this giant asteroid space station called Ark Nova.
Yes.
And basically, you work your way through it, and you find out that the enemy forces have fired the rockets, and they're aiming the asteroid directly at Earth. So you have to go ahead and actually destroy all the rockets before it enters the atmosphere. So if you do that, that's great. Game goes on. But if you don't succeed in destroying them all, when you start the next stage, you'll actually see the asteroid coming in through the atmosphere, and then it eventually hits, and there's this giant mushroom cloud. And that's one of the things that does affect the game's ending.
Yes.
And then there's the stuff that was cut besides the portraits and whatnot. The big one, and I remember this distinctly because my my friend Braunley had bought Vulcan because he wanted Cybernator, and he saw that, and he's like, oh, cool, the original Japanese version. All right. So we go back to the apartment we were in at the time, and we're playing through it. And we get to the last stage where basically you're invading the enemy's capital. And you fight your main adversary. And when you beat him in Cybernator, what would happen is you go right to the next stage, which is like this high-speed tunnel chase. Not so in this. It's like all of a sudden the mech's jetpack kicked on. You smash through the top few floors of the Capitol building that you're in. Then you can walk to the right, and you encounter the enemy president. And the pilot and the president exchange a few words. You see in the pictures that the president has a gun to his head. And he pulls the trigger, kills himself. And we're just kind of sitting there like, did that just actually happen? did what? And then it goes to the high-speed tunnel chase. And eventually you fight your main rival, and he's inside this giant mech. This thing is like, size of the Empire State Building, basically.
Yep.
And like I said, with the endings changing, you can get, if you accomplish everything properly, you get the good ending where you and your girlfriend are reunited on the deck of your downed space cruiser, and your mech is exploding behind you when you jump out. You go up and embrace her, and you get this text saying, "Yay, everything's cool." But if you didn't do things like taking out Arc Nova, then it plays this kind of... It's actually a much better piece of music, to tell you the truth, than the good ending. And you see your pilot, he's running through the wreckage, and he gets inside your battle cruiser and goes to the bridge, and your girlfriend's laying there dead. And he just kind of... He's holding her, and he's just like, screaming, and then it says, like, the war is over, you suck. Kind of thing.
How splatterhousey.
Yeah. Something else that was cut from the Cybernator was at the very end, after the credits roll, in the Japanese version, there is a message. And what it says is something about, this is the expeditionary force trying to reach Earth. We've got problems, and so on and so forth. What that is the setup for Assault Suits Lanos. Because what happens is that expeditionary force that sends a transmission, they become cyborgs to survive, and they end up attacking Earth like 100 years later, which is the story for Lanos, aka Target Earth. All in all, it's a cool little series. They did a third game for the Saturn, Assault Suit Lanos 2, and they also did an Assault Suits Vulcan 2, but that was more of a strategy game. And they've also remade Vulcan and Lanos a couple of times. So, there's your potted history on the Assault Suit series.
Nice.
Anyway, though, love Cybernator / Vulcan. Vulcan just a little more so, but Cybernator, even without that stuff, is still a great game to play through.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jay, your thoughts?
I have played this game not long ago, but I haven't gone too far, and I would like to go back to it. It was pretty cool. I haven't played on that many mech games for the SNES, and I never even heard of that one until recently. And it's challenging. It was a bit fun. I'm going to go back to it. I don't have much beyond that for that particular one, though.
I do want to add one thing before we get to Mike. It's got a pretty kick-ass soundtrack, too.
I did enjoy the music, I'll say that.
Mm-hmm. So, Mike, your thoughts?
I realize I mentioned Assault Suits Vulcan when we were talking about Zardion. Sorry to kind of blow that reveal.
No, you didn't really blow the reveal. I mean, look, my icon is the pilot.
Yeah, that was still a little absent-minded on my part, but...
well, you also helped cement my decision as to what the next game I was going to talk about was.
Good point. I'll give myself credit for whatever it's worth there, but I also do think that the title of Cybernator is pretty stupid and not really indicative of what the game itself is about. So that's just marketing for you. It is what it is. But regardless of the title, this game kicks ass, and I really like it. I'm not sure how much I can really add on top of it. It's just a really solid playing game. Pretty bastard hard in the back half, though. Once you get to stage 5, it stops fucking around.
Oh, does it ever?
I think I might have only beaten it once without the almighty napalm. The napalm definitely helps. It doesn't make it necessarily a free ride, but when I don't feel like being challenged too much, it is pretty good to fall back on. And I think you only get like 2 continues as well, and you don't really have lives either. You just have your mech is very durable, but like, it's one of those games where like you die, and you just it will likely take several tries to actually beat the thing. That last level is not nice.
I forgot to mention too that you also have a shield you can use.
That's right. Yeah, it's a big old slab of iron as well. Which, I just really like a lot about this game's presentation. It's just so it is the definition of cool, and
giant explosions.
Yeah, lots of them. Really pixely too.
Yeah.
I don't know what else I can say except yes. Everyone should definitely play this game. The controls can maybe take a little bit to get to used to because it does have some, like, I want to say deliberate weight to your overall motion, which, you are piloting a mech. That only makes sense. It's not like, full on realistic like Votoms type mechs, but it is also not like, super agile anime flying Gundam mechs either. It's somewhere in between with the realism there. But however you get to play it, and if you're into mech stuff, then yes, Solstice Valken's a total no-brainer. And I believe its development team also helped in the making of the later spin-off of the Front Mission series Gun Hazard.
Yes, they did.
Oh.
Yeah, that game is also really impressive. It's also really fucking long, like a lot longer than I thought it would be. But, yeah. And I also do like Assault Zeus Lanos quite a bit, but that one's even more brutal than Valken is. Valken, for as hard as it is, does feel relatively normal. Lanos, I don't know how I beat that one. It's not nice, man.
I remember EGM had actually rated Target Earth back in the day, and they labeled the difficulty as impossible.
It's not impossible.
No.
It's not the hardest game I've ever played, but it is really freaking difficult.
Oh, yeah.
So, no, you want impossible? Let's talk about Cobra Triangle. That's not because that's the NES, and I don't want to have a breakdown tonight, but yes. But yeah, Valken, Cybernator, whatever it's called, go freaking play it.
I do want to bring something up about Cybernator, though.
Sure.
The art that was used on Assault Suits Vulcan was apparently not actiony enough for the U.S. It's actually a really cool painting showing your mech, and it's being serviced by by the ground crew. Like, they're hooking hoses up to it and whatnot. It reminds me of like a World War II painting in a way. Now, when it was brought out in America, Konami got the rights to release it over here. It was actually originally done by NCS. And when they did that, of course, they commissioned new artwork for it. So basically, on the front of the box, you have the mech, bursting its way through a wall, and there's all these guys that are just running in terror from it. And they made it look kind of evil with like glowing red eyes and stuff. Now, what's interesting is when you pull out the instruction manual, it's got a different picture. It's got the mech standing there and 2 smaller people in front of it looking up at it in total shock. That was actually used in the ad for the game. And if you ever saw the ad in comic magazines, it says, the Terminator and RoboCop now have someone they can look up to. And sure enough, if you look at the 2 people, it's the Terminator and RoboCop.
Was that a cross promotion for the RoboCop versus Terminator game?
I doubt it. Konami had nothing to do with that one.
Well, damn.
I think they were trying to make a joke about robots.
That was a weird little bit of marketing, although I'm going to be a total nerd and say that both RoboCop and the Terminator individually are very different mechanical stories apart from giant mechs, but, you know, we're not discussing movies tonight, so, I mean, we could, but... Exactly! That.
Anyway,
So, yeah.
So let's circle back around to Jay. What you got for us?
All right, so I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Well, at least from my list. Starting going through these more sci-fi stuff, games and whatnot. So I'm going to talk about a game that has a very interesting art cover for a box,
Okay.
at least for the US version. And
Oh, I think I know what this is.
and and it's a straight up your alley. Well, because I know you like your shooters as well.
Yep, you
Game
just sealed
call.
it.
Yep, Phalanx. What a weird cover, and that's the reason why I ended up playing that game. Actually, because I was like, "What the heck is this? There's this old dude playing a banjo. What am I playing here? What's going on?" I look at the back. What? Where's the old man? So rented it, played it, and I'm like, that is actually an underrated, amazing shooter. It's not as hard as Gradius 3, but it's so much fun. The music is so good. It's one of the few shooters that actually has a health bar.
That's right.
Which is interesting to say. Still has some challenge. I like all the power-ups, the ideas of it. The parallaxing is amazing. The aesthetics looks really cool. You're just this dude in a very little ship trying to do what you normally do in shooters, and I believe it was done by Kemco. Love the music, love the style, love the art for the box. Just it'll capture your attention because you want to know what's going on. But
Yeah.
spoiler alert: I don't think there's anything that has to do with the old man, but
Not a thing.
not even close. But no, it's a really well done shooter that I think is not talked about a lot. I do play it on my channel from time to time because I hope to finish it someday. I have beaten the game a long time ago. A little hard to scream, I find, but I would definitely recommend playing it if you've never played Phalanx before. The Banjo Man was a marketing stunt.
Yes.
Okay.
He
That
actually
makes
was.
sense, yeah.
Because if I remember correctly, the guys at Kemco handled the marketing for it. They were like, oh, we got another space shooter here. Well, how are we going to get this to stand out? There's so many of them. Hey, let's do something completely unexpected. So they hired... the guy who they got to play Banjo Man there, or could it possibly be 90-year-old Wink Bawfield? He, hey, look out, folks. The world's dumbest video game name character contest has a new contender.
Yeah, I'm sure he would go up against Dr. Ferdinand's Social in the semifinals or whatever.
Yeah, well, after he's going to take out Dr. Vincent Gilgamesh.
Oh yeah, none of us are
Oh,
talking
okay.
about Time Slip tonight. That game is thoroughly mediocre.
Oh, yes, it is. It wants to be Contra 3 in the worst way. Anyway. But yeah, it's Prime's correct. That was mad genius. No one has forgotten that cover. And that's mainly the reason it gets talked about.
It was, it seems stupid, but in retrospect, no, it was actually kind of a brilliant move. What the fuck?
It stood out.
Oh, that's what got me to play it.
Now,
Exactly.
if they only could have done something similar with Biometal instead of, this is Activision's fault. Yeah. Biometal did not need a soundtrack by 2 Unlimited, okay? They could have put like an Amish guy on the cover and just kept the original soundtrack.
Exactly.
But yeah, the Banjo Man, he was an actor. He was in a movie that is pretty well known. I forget which one it was. But yeah.
So kudos for them trying something new with the box,
mm-hmm.
just to capture whoever is looking at it. Like, what kind of game is that? But you can see the ship in the background.
Yes,
it's small, but you can.
Oh, one of the members of the old Third Moon, Rodrigo, he did this whole thing on Phalanx, which was hilarious. It was
amazing.
Basically a poem about Wink Caulfield playing his banjo, and but some interesting history about Phalanx. It actually started life on the X68000 computer in Japan. So
yes, I was looking up on that. Never actually played it on there, so it was pretty cool that it had a different history.
I've played it. It's really good. The graphics are really high res on that. So, I mean, you can see every tiny little detail.
Oh, nice.
I know, of course, the Super NES was the first port of the game. They also, I think they did it for Game Boy Advance, too. And it was an early PlayStation game that actually had tiny Phalanx as an unlockable.
Oh, yeah.
It was... I can't remember the name of the stupid thing.
Zero Divide.
Thank you.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Zero Divide. So Phalanx definitely wasn't forgotten by the people that made it, but all everyone ever talks about is the damn Banjo Man.
Yep.
But yeah, there's even a comic out there which really attempts to tie in the whole Banjo Man with the story of the game.
Yeah. And it's actually kind of tear-jerking. What the hell?
Exactly. Hey, Mike, if you got a link to that, you should post it.
Yeah. Give me a moment.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing what you can find out about Phalanx.
Yeah, so the elderly man, he was a mall Santa for 25 years.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Burt Hill Valley. Although I can't find the name that the movie that he was in of prominence, though.
Yeah, I can't think of it either. But I remember reading somewhere he was in a movie.
There it is. Okay.
I have to admit, I was not enamored of the Banjo Man cover, so when I finally got a copy of Phalanx at one point, I bought the Super Famicom version with the cool cover.
Wow. I don't know how that would have worked out if they went with that cover in Japan. But
they'd have thought we were insane.
Probably. I also like the I think this is the X68000 cover. It looks rather interesting.
Oh yeah,
it looks like they're building the ship there.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous cover.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it! I'm trying to post the thing, the comic, but all I'm getting is a post to not Twitter that is telling me they can't find the damn page, so that's really fucking helpful.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Well.
Sorry, people. I kind of failed on this one.
Yeah, if one of us turns it up, I'll post the link in the description. So.
Okay.
All right.
Fucking impermanence of the fucking internet nowadays. God damn it.
That being said, aside from Banjo Man, Mike, your thoughts on Phalanx?
It is a game I've barely played to now, and considering how much of a shoot-'em-up fan I am, that might be a little surprising.
It is,
somehow
actually.
This one never captivated me as much as some of the other shoot-'em-ups on the NES have. Like, I will gladly talk up Macross Scrambled Valkyrie when I get the chance.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and any given title in the Parodius series, Natchy, but Somehow Phalanx, I just never really got the knack to play it as much, and that seems like an error in my case.
Yes.
Yes. I will make a more earnest attempt to get on it, hopefully sooner than later. Occasionally, I get the inkling to just want to play a shmup. Whenever I'm having a slow day at work, I have to play with a keyboard, which makes it harder to be sure. But if I am having a slower day, this is definitely one I would that I should give a crack at some point. I mean, I think the most recent one I beat at work was Download on the PC Engine. That's been one I've been meaning to scratch off my list for a while with all of its profanities and whatnot.
Yes,
but
that's Download for you.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Phalanx definitely does look cool. It does look a little like gray for shooting 'em up standards. It has a bit more of like a sort of metallic haze over it, but I do respect the style of it. It does give it a pretty unique look apart from the more colorful shooters on the SNES. But yeah, I owe it to myself to give this one a shot if you guys are a fan of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that said, Mike, what's your next pick?
Let me see. Which one did I want to hit next? I think I will go for, to now, what is the final installment of the series, unless I've missed something. And it was actually kind of meant as an overall ending to whatever running threads of plot it had going. It's a little unconventional because past games had like more open stages, and this one is definitely much more full-on linear and set-piece driven. But I don't mind that because it is a solid action title. It's Super Turrican 2. If anyone is familiar with the Turrican series, classic run and gun by Rainbow Arts, with which the first two installments mostly had these very wide open levels that encourage you to rummage about and, find more ammunition for your special weapons and bonus lives and whatnot. The third installment, aka Mega Turrican, was a fair deal more linear in its design, but it still had areas where you could find various bonus lives and power-ups if you were willing to tap in at certain points. Super Turrican 2 follows much more on Mega Turrican's direction and makes the stages even more straightforward. Like the very first stage is just a straight line from left to right, and at one point you even get a desert buggy to make it much faster. Yeah, the first stage takes place in this like really apocalyptic looking desert, which just looks really freaking cool. The first overall area, I think, is some sort of ruined, abandoned, big urban complex. You're going through all these dilapidated buildings. And then suddenly, you're in the sky and grapple hook swinging from a floating ship of some sort, before then riding a bunch of giant worms, like, you were Muad'Dib himself. And then you are in the mouth of an extremely giant worm, who is the final boss of the first area, and you have to shoot its tongue to kill it. And then you're in space, then you're riding on some sort of motorbike in like a Super Star Wars-esque corridor and whatnot. This game is fucking crazy. It almost never stays in one setting for too long. It's just action, action, action. It's a very different ethos from the older Turrican games, which, like I said, have a little bit more of an explorative element to this. Now, Super Turrican 2 is different from them, pure action, but it is some really nice action. And occasionally, it almost reminds me more of a treasure game. I couldn't say it's necessarily Contra-esque. It is you can really only shoot from left to right with your normal guns, although you do have this freeze ray that you can be omnidirectional with, oddly enough. But there's just a lot of freaking crazy things that SC2 throws at you. It's just a really, really cool and I would almost say underrated action game that almost never settles into one niche for too long. It's almost like Battletoads in that sense, but like not awkward. I don't want to say outright crap in Battletoads' case, so we'll just go with awkward in this case. But yeah, no. I don't know what else I could say about Super Turrican 2. It does get tricky at some points, and the giant spiderweb boss can eat my ass. That one's kind of awkward. But otherwise, no, it is really solid. And its titling is very weird, though. It might as well actually be more like Turrican 4, if anything. Because the first Super Turrican on the SNES is kind of more like a reworking of Mega Turrican. It's not really fully its own game, but this one is full-blown, and yeah, you actually do get to, at the end, destroy, quote-unquote, the machine, which has been the bad guy of the Turrican series since the beginning. Here, he finally dies, and being that this was like the last game of the series, it's kind of bold they actually ended it. In this case, so
all right, Mo.
But yeah,
well, you have a good night.
Oh, hey, Mo. Thank you for stopping in. Always good to see you. You take care. Have a good one as well.
I'll talk to you at some point in the near future, Mo.
Yes. You take care now. Snarbu has said that Super Turrican 2 is low-key the best game in the series. Mega Turrican is up there as well, although not to sell the rest of the franchise short. It helps they were more accessible, and it helps that, Mega Turrican came to the Genesis, and Super Turrican 2 came to the SNES. The first two Turricans were best on the original Amiga, which not everyone had access to. The first Turrican got a very crappy port to the TurboGrafx 16, which is more than Turrican 2 got. It had to settle for butchering to its stages, and for some reason being released as a tie-in to the Roland Emmerich film Universal Soldier, which still has my head left scratching, so... It doesn't help that the first... Yeah, no, seriously.
I actually saw that movie in theaters.
Honestly, I think it's I like that film. I actually do like Universal Soldier. I just think that the repurposing of Turrican 2 to make it a licensed title was really weird and stupid.
Well, here's the kick in the head about it, though. That's the only time I ever saw it. I don't barely remember anything about it.
Give it another watch sometime. I actually liked it quite a bit when I saw it like 5 or maybe not even 5. God, how long ago was it for me now? Jesus. But so it doesn't help that like the first two Turricans have had some accessibility problems. But
I'll say,
yeah.
First...
There was like a recent collection that did finally make the Amiga versions more available to people. So there is that.
The first Turrican I only played either on the Turbo or the Genesis or both, and I hated the series as a result because of that game.
Yeah, because he played the bad version.
Yeah, it took me years to finally get around to being able to play Mega Turrican, and at that point I was like, well, hello. This is much different.
Yeah. Super Turrican 2 is much more a direct sequel to Mega Turrican, I want to say. And it's just as bonkers, if not even more. And Snarb has also mentioned that SC2 is kind of a prelude to Rendering Ranger. That is true. Those games share some DNA because I believe the original creator of the Turrican series, Manfred Trenz, was the primary architect of Rendering Ranger. The games also do have a somewhat sort of similar late SNES rendered style to them, which I actually think for them looks pretty neat, not like in a Donkey Kong Country Mudbuddish sort of way. That one's for you, Prime. It still cracks me up to this day. I'm sorry. But, Super Turrican 2, really underratedly awesome late action game on the SNES. Definitely give it a shot if you haven't yet.
Jay, have you ever played it?
I don't think I've ever played any Turrican games.
Well, you got another couple to toss on the list.
Definitely.
Definitely do.
Well, yeah, I can vouch for it in this case. I have tried both Super Turrican and Super Turrican 2, and they're both solid.
Uh-huh.
Very good stuff.
Oats. Not much else to say, though?
At the moment, no. Give me just one moment, though. Hang on 1 sec.
Or no, maybe I should go for the intermission music from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It goes like da 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 da. That's the one.
So yeah, Turrican, good stuff, except for the Turbo and Genesis game.
Yeah, those are bad ports. Very objectively bad ports.
Yeah. So, looking to see if my cat's out here. He has not shown up pawing at my door tonight, so.
Huh.
I warned him earlier. I said, no kitty breaks tonight.
Good. He's being obedient then.
Yes. So, with all that said, that's not a bad idea, Snarp.
Why
not just use intermission from The Offspring? Welcome to intermission. Doot,
oh
doot,
yeah.
doot, 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 doot. Yeah. Yeah. Intermission. All right, so let's move on with my next pick here. I'll just say that only a madman would take on this mission. Lucky they found me. UN Squadron, which has the distinction of being the only shooter Capcom released for the Super NES.
That's freaking crazy. You think they would have horned into that genre more?
Yeah, but what do you expect when they became the Street Fighter II factory?
True.
At least for home consoles.
I was going to say, you're still mad about that after all these years, man?
I wouldn't exactly say I'm mad about that, but I do think that Street Fighter II exploding in popularity did go ahead and shift everything in that direction. So they were kind of like, why are we going to do games that probably no one's going to play? It's like, people will still play brawlers. We can do more Final Fight games. That's related to Street Fighter.
Yeah.
But
Final Fight 3 is a really damn good one.
Yeah. But who wants to port Eco Fighters to the Super NES?
Yeah.
No one? No? Okay, fine.
Well, dang.
They could have done Carrier Airwing, but nope, that didn't happen either.
Yeah, that one was kind of sort of a sequel, but not really to UN Squadron. Sort of, kind of, I don't know.
It was a pseudo sequel, I think.
Yeah, that's a fair way to put it.
Anyway, this is another one like Cybernator and Vulcan. I much prefer the original Japanese version of the game, even though there's not really too much of a difference. But in Japan, it is Area 88, based on the manga and anime of the same name. And when UN Squadron came out for the Super NES, it was just the right time for me, because Bromley was collecting manga at the time, and he was collecting the English translated Area 88 manga, which I was reading every time I got a new issue. So all of a sudden he pops up with the Super NES game, and it's like, oh damn, they made a game about this? That's awesome. Let's play. And, you don't ever really hear people talking about it these days. Hence the whole lesser known thing. But yeah, it is a really solid shooter. You can pick from three of the, Shin Kazama is the main character of the manga. Nick Simon, he is a secondary character, as is Greg Gates. But you can pick from all three of them in UN Squadron / Area 88. We'll just call it Area 88 from now on.
That's fair.
And some of the characters from the manga and anime do make an appearance too, like Saki, the base commander, and McCoy, the guy who sells them their armaments and planes. And for that matter, there's a rival mercenary group that shows up called Wolfpack, which they do put in an appearance in the game as well. Really cool music when they appear, too.
Yep.
flying
Use
their
that.
purple stealth fighters or whatever they are.
Uh-huh.
The set pieces in that game are phenomenal. I mean, you're flying over the desert, you encounter this giant aircraft carrier on treads that you have to just take apart piece by piece. You go over this huge fortress that you also have to take apart piece by piece, and it's got these giant cannons on it and whatnot. One of the hardest parts of the game would be the battleship Minx. And
Oh yeah,
that
takes a while.
Yeah, that thing is ridiculously overarmed, and it's just, and on top of that, if you go past it, what the game will do is actually turn you around and head you back towards it.
Yeah.
And it'll do that until you're able to destroy it or shoot you down. One of my favorites, though, is the nuclear submarine seabed. And you're fighting, the submarine keeps surfacing, it'll launch missiles at you, and then it'll dive. And, you know, the things it shoots out, they start raining down on you. And if you're not careful, they'll actually basically make the sub come out from under the water and like almost jump out of the ocean. You get hit by that, you're dead. And every so often, it'll open up another gun on the front and shoot this huge energy blast at you. But it's just so really cool. And during the course of the game, every plane you shoot down gets you money. Every boss you destroy gets you money. You have to have that to upgrade your planes and your weapons. Now, there's, I think, a total of 8 planes you can buy.
6, I want to say.
Possibly 6, yeah. But, yeah, they're all, for the most part, pretty standard planes for the time. I mean, Area 88 started in 1979. So you have stuff like the F-80 Crusader and the F-14 Tomcat. What I'll do is I'll start with the F-80 Crusader in the game, and I'll stick with it until I have enough money to buy the Ifrit, which is pretty much the ultimate plane.
And that is exactly what I do almost every time I play.
Yep. And if you find yourself running short on money, they have these supply convoys that come along. And all you have to do is just go wipe them out of existence. And you just get some money. And there's a whole bunch of them, too. So you can just keep grinding for money as long as you need to. And at the end of the game, you're going down into the base of Project 4. Where at the end you encounter this really, really pregnant-looking plane. Which is the is the next to last boss. But the actual Project 4 is almost like a spaceship. And that thing, pain in the ass. Overall, great game. Capcom should have done more shooters for the Super NES if they were turning out games like that. I would have bought them. So, that said, Jay, your thoughts?
Definitely enjoyed the game. I remember you suggesting it one time, and yeah, love it. A lot of fun. I like the different style of the stages and the ships and all that. There's definitely a challenge to the game though.
Oh yeah,
I need to get back to it. I want to finish it. Music great. I like the anime style, of course, you know, because it's kind of based on the anime, which I want to watch because of it. Enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the game. So thank you for recommending it, and I'm recommending it to anybody who hasn't played it. So
no problem. And yes, spread the word. And Prime, you know, we give you what you least expect sometimes.
And how?
But yeah, definitely.
That's quite the phrase.
Yeah. Seriously, this thing has an underbelly, which is just like, how does this thing stay in the air? But you've never seen the anime
logic.
I guess so. But you've never seen the anime?
No, I've been wanting to though.
Yes,
because of that.
We need to discuss something after this is done.
Okay.
So, Mike, your thoughts?
Well, I have also not seen the anime, so I look forward to that discussion. But I have played the shit out of UN Squadron, and I do think it is a very rad game. Maybe the grinding up for the money for the best plane is maybe a slight minor bit tedious, but for the most part, I don't mind it. I especially like the feeling that I'm getting toward building towards something powerful, and you will need as much cash as you're able to get, because this game gets pretty bastard hard.
Oh, yeah.
Even early on, it definitely doesn't screw around. If you pick Shin or Mickey, you can get your weapons stronger sooner, but that eventually plateaus, and they're more fragile than my boy Greg, who
Yes.
I go with like 99 times out of 10 I play the game. The fact that he recovers much quicker from potential damage does, I think, ultimately make going through the game a bit less stressful with him, because he will get hit quite frequently. I should note that, like, how the damage works is that, like, if you get hit, you don't die, but you do go into a sort of danger mode. But then a little bit of time passes, and then you're fine again. Although if you get hit too much like that, you eventually go into a permanent danger mode, and one more hit will kill you.
Yeah, essentially you have a life bar.
Yes, that is pretty unique for shoot 'em ups even at the time. Although we mentioned that you have a life bar in Phalanx, so it's certainly not unheard of. But,
Right.
yeah, it does just have a really, I think, unique feel compared to other shoot 'em ups at the time. The stages are relatively short for the most part, except for that last one, but as a trade-off, they don't have any checkpoints, which can also make things stressful. But it is definitely one that requires some practice out of you to get ahead with. But I just really like its overall style. I like all the cool sub-weapons that you get, your access. The giant war machines that you go up against as the bosses are all really impressive looking. And plus the wolf pack, which, that's a curveball. Usually you fight these really giant, tanks or mobile fortresses or huge stealth bombers. Here, you just fight 3 modestly sized planes, and they're very difficult to go up against.
Oh, yeah.
No boss screws around in this game for the most part. I do think that I will say, though, that vertical gun one you fight in Mission 9 fucking blows and can bite me. I think that is even less. I think that is even harder than the final boss because it's semi-unfair. You absolutely need the sub-weapon that fires up, or you're going to have a bad time.
Yes.
Or worse time, I should say. It's a bad time even regardless. So I would like to at least call that bastard out, but otherwise, I do really like this game. It is tough. It can be a little bit slow-paced as you need more money, but I just really enjoy its overall style. It just feels like it hits hard. It's fairly unique as far as shmups go on the system. And I would totally recommend it to anyone who has not played the apparently only shoot 'em up Capcom's done for the SNES, which is just so fucking weird to me. It is also quite a bit different from the arcade title. The arcade one I actually haven't played as much. It's not bad, but I do think that, the purchasable planes and the shop system does add more, arguably, to the overall structure of the SNES one. I just kind of like. It feels more substantial to me. Not that the arcade game is bad, but I haven't played it in a while in comparison. So, yeah.
Also, in Capcom tradition, there are plenty of hidden items and bonuses to find.
Oh yeah, the various icons they had, like that little mech guy or whatever, and the cow, or all the little bonus guys they've had in all their games for a while.
The 1943 cow, the mech from Sidearms, the Shishi.
Yeah. Yep, you gotta have the Shishi in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only
I think it restores your life bar completely, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, if there's any real negative I can think of about the game, it's the fact that the story from the manga and anime is almost completely absent. You don't know what Sheen's doing there. You don't know what's going on, or even what country you're in. Because in the go ahead, you were gonna say.
since I am not as familiar with the manga, I can't certainly speak to the differences specifically. I just know that the manga is a much different tack. The game itself is basically fuck yeah, we're destroying the bad guys shit.
Mm-hmm.
The manga is much more political and uh, much less optimistic, from what I understand.
Oh yeah, completely.
It gets harsh.
Sheen's story is kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's what I think I remember hearing about. Also, isn't Greg like a sort of relatively minor character, so to speak?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they went with him, but yeah, Sheen and Mickey are essentially the main characters. Greg might as well be like I don't know, Martian Manhunter compared to Batman and Superman. That's a terrible example.
No, he's almost comic relief in the manga.
Oh, nice.
But
also, Prime said Mega Man took his fair share of resources from the Capcom home
Yes.
division by a lot.
I
And yeah, the
believe that.
Moby-chan mascot. Yep.
Yeah, that was his name, Moby-chan. I couldn't remember that. But yeah, there's a whole giant chunk of story that just didn't fit into an action game. So
That is fair. I can see why. I will at least respect this decision on Capcom's part, that even if Area 88 has a fairly dark war story to it, that it was canny of them to just completely ditch that and just give us a straight-up action game, because I think maybe it would have been kind of awkward trying to translate the themes of Area 88 to the game itself, so let's just call it an alternate timeline.
But I will say this. There are only 3 ways out of Area 88. 1, serve your allotted time. 2, make enough money to buy out your contract. 3, die.
I imagine most people unintentionally go with number 3.
You would be correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so, but yeah, enough about Area 88 for right now. Jay, go on, hit us.
Oh, the next game in the list. Wow. Let's go with that one RPG. It's more like an action adventure than an RPG, because it doesn't really do any playing. But it's a game called Illusion of Gaia. It is unofficially part of a quintet trilogy that started with Soul Blazer and ended with Terra Ningba. But Illusion of Gaia, the reason why I put it on here, even though it's a little bit more known than the I still want to give it some, love and respect to it, because it was the first game that I played back in the day that really made me want to go travel. Because it has used real locations like Angkor Wat and the Nazca ruins and things like that. I didn't know at the time, but then I started learning more about it when I was playing the game, and people are like, "Oh, those are real places." I'm like, "I gotta go check these out." But you play a character named Will, who goes on this little adventure with his friends, trying to save the world from basically a meteor trying to hit the planet. Of sorts, and you become these different beings and going through dungeons and saving people. It has this building the world, so to speak. So every time you kill a monster, it helps people out and things like that. So that's why it's part of that trilogy, because Soul Blazer did the same kind of thing, and same thing with Terra Ningba, from what I understand, which I still want to go out and do. But Illusion of Gaia has fantastic music, locations. The characters are just a lot of fun to follow, and it's, like I said, it's one of those games that got me wanting to see the world, which I still haven't fully did yet, but I'm hoping to do so in my lifetime.
Me too, man.
just a lot of fun. Again, it's a nice little action adventure ish in the same vein as Zelda, because Zelda doesn't really do levels except for the odd one. To If you like a good adventure game that makes you want to travel, I would say try this one out. It's pretty cool. Very vibrant colors too. It's a very vibrant, very loving game for that stuff. So
Nice.
yeah.
This is one game I remember, again, seeing magazine ads for. I think my brother had it and played through it at one point. But I don't recall really watching it much when he did. So, honestly, I don't even recall what the game looks like, to tell you the truth. But I always knew, it was by Enix, wasn't it?
Yes.
And Quintet.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's why it's called the Quintet Trilogy, or unofficially, anyways.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember playing Soul Blazer briefly. That was in 1993.
Nice.
That was a good one.
What had happened is Bromley had rented it. He'd gone through it, and I decided to try it out one day. It seemed pretty cool, but I never went back to it. In fact, the only Quintet...
That one's more of an RPG. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So I say the only Quintet game I can say I've ever actually played all the way through would be ActRaiser.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That whole idea of rebuilding the world, the land, saving the people from killing the monsters, and restoring life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they really dived into that back then, especially with ActRaiser and Soul Blazer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
which was kind of.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I said which was kind of neat.
This may surprise you, but I have a very tiny Super NES collection. But among this, tiny little smattering of games, I do have a copy of ActRaiser.
That's amazing.
But getting back to Gaia, like I said, I remember virtually nothing about it. How about you, Mike?
I actually really like this game. I think I like Soul Blazer a bit more, but Illusion of Gaia is a worthy follow-up. It's definitely overall sort of grander in its scope. It's like Soul Blazer was pretty lean and mean with its overall design and very straightforward on the story. Illusion of Gaia does emphasize the plot more, with Will traveling the world, getting into contact with the spirit of Gaia and all the stuff that his friends go through. Some of which go through some pretty bad shit. I think one of them transforms into a fish man eventually, and he doesn't go back. I don't know. My
Seth. Yeah.
Seth, that was
turned into a fish man whale thing. I'm like, oh my god, that's so dark especially for an SNES game at the time.
This game definitely gets some pretty dark spots. Hamlet, no, remember Hamlet and his sacrifice.
The pig,
humanity.
The huge manatee.
That kind of it is a horribly sad moment, and yet it just kind of cracks me. It strikes me as dark comedy, whether or not it was intended that way. But for this pig to literally just roast itself to save your team is okay, kind of spoilers there. But
question: do you use it to heal afterwards?
I forget if you do. I want to say you might eat him. I forget if it's actually part of the story. If it does actually restore your health at some point, but
I think it's just for the story, if I remember right. But it's been a while.
I'm so sad he's gone. Put him past the bacon, please.
Exactly. That is kind of what it feels like. It's weird. It's very weird, but it's also a very unique. It's just an overall very unique. Sort of atmosphere to this game. The dungeons themselves are very impressive and elaborate, and interestingly, you have 3 different characters. You are mostly playing as Will on the overworld, and you do sometimes eat him in the dungeons, but for the dungeons, you get in contact with the spirit of a warrior by the name of Freedan, I think his name was.
Yep.
And he's a badass. He looks awesome. His sword really hits the enemies hard, and he certainly winging him against the game's very difficult bosses. In fact, the first one is said to be one of the hardest bosses in the game, which I want to say his name is Castro or whatever, this giant red demon head who's a real bastard to go up against. Yeah, the game can get pretty difficult at times. Although you do feel yourself palpably getting stronger as you go along in it. Like in Soul Blazer, you get more life and power by just clearing rooms and dungeons full of enemies. Once you get the last enemy, you automatically power up, which I like that about both of those games, that, you cannot grind. This is how you get stronger, and, you can't game it, so this is how you power up, and the game just discourages grinding because you're not able to. It puts a limit on it like that. I really like how the game plays. I like its overall atmosphere. It's got a fantastic soundtrack, and yeah, the traveling the world thing, I think, like the fact that it is kind of sort of in a fantasy world, but like it is also like Earth with those real locations that you mentioned, is like it kind of hinging between fantasy and reality, but it's just a very really unique setting, I feel. And yeah, it is just a really solid title. It does feel quite a bit longer and in some cases more drawn out than the relatively fast and efficient Soul Blazer. I do remember the infamous raft part early on where you have to wait like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes for the story to progress and you're just on the fucking raft and you can't really do anything about it. So, I mean, I'm not going to drag down the game as a whole, but I thought that part was a little gratuitous. But
I'll go with that too. I mean, it good for character development between Will and Kara at the point because they were lost at sea. Due to the we're going into spoiler territory for sure here, but the ship that they were on crashed or something. It sank, and I think that's when one of the characters got turned into the fish whale thing. But yeah, I agree. But I do like it for its story element, but it could speed it up a tad there. I agree with you there.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, this game is bold, I think, to actually develop its very unique plot the way it does. It just does occasionally jump very far out of its way to emphasize the plot more, which not everyone might necessarily appreciate, and that is totally understandable. It's got weird pacing to it, if I had to peg its probably biggest flaw, but no, for the most part, I just really do enjoy it. It is one of the most unique action RPGs I can think of, let alone the SNES, just kind of overall. And yeah, if you like Soul Blazer, playing it's a total no-brainer. I still think Soul Blazer is my favorite of the trilogy, but I think IOG is a really solid follow-up. Okay. Hot take, I don't love Terranigma, but that's another story for another day.
I have to interject here. I'm still stuck on the pig thing, and all I can think about now is my Earth 2 concept for Charlotte's Web.
Explain. You must explain this.
All right. Well, Earth 2 is basically the reverse. Good is evil and evil is good and so on and so forth. So, now, if you remember the story of Charlotte's Web, you know that Charlotte spun the words into her web that convinced Farmer Zuckerman to go ahead and not murder Wilbur and serve him for breakfast.
Yep.
Well, it starts off pretty much the same. Kind of. And sure enough, you get some pig gets spun into the web. Oh, wow. Yeah. And terrific. Yep. And then, when Charlotte asks for suggestions for other words, and Templeton comes up with crunchy, she spins that into the web.
Jesus Christ.
And that does indeed get Zuckerman thinking. And so, you see, as all the barnyard animals are just kind of chuckling, Zuckerman you see his shadow looming over a terrified Wilbur. The next morning at breakfast, they're gathered around the breakfast table. They're eating. Man, some pig. Sure is terrific. Nice and crunchy.
God. That's effed up, man.
You know, when you are forced to read that book to your kids for about, 700 times in a row, your brain starts going places. It's like that Calvin and Hobbes, where Calvin wanted to hear Hamster Huey and the Gooey Kablooey, but his father didn't want to do it, and Calvin said he would, not go to sleep unless it was read, and then you see him and Hobbes laying in bed. Boy, the story sure was different that time. Yeah, you think the townspeople will ever find Hamster Huey's head?
Did you just have to read it so much because your kids just really liked it?
Yes. That's also like how I had to watch Cars about 500 times.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
It's not a bad movie, though. It really isn't.
Okay, fair enough. That's good, at least.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
You could definitely have worse.
Well, I like the whole Route 66 thing, but now we're getting off on another tangent. So, Mike, go ahead. Hit us.
Alrighty.
Before you do, I do have one fun fact of Illusion of Gaia. Just one.
Okay.
Sure, what's up?
It did have a different title in Japan.
What was it called?
Illusion of Time.
Illusion of Time.
Illusion of Time.
Yeah.
Interesting. Jinx.
But it has some time. It's the way it ends. There's a time thing. I don't know. That's my theory, but I just know it has a different title in Japan. It's called Illusion of Time instead of Illusion of Gaia. Sorry to kind of bring it back to that for a second. I just wanted to let you guys know.
No worries.
I know, it's totally fair. Probably a game that ends with the suffix of time that I like better than the one that everyone knows better. But again, that's another podcast for another time. Time, exactly. There you go.
All right, so hit us.
This is actually. Oh no, wait. Well, okay. Shadowrun and Super Turken are actually Western developed too. I was like, hey, is this the only Western game I'm going for? No, it's not. As far as actual development is concerned, but it's probably the most Western feeling game. It is grimdark as balls. It is, in fact, by I believe, pre-StarCraft Blizzard, if I'm not mistaken, and it is a cinematic platformer known as Blackthorn, a game where you play as the titular Blackthorn, who is like a 90s anti-hero, almost practical parody, like big muscular guy with long flowing black hair and like jeans and a tank top and shades, and most importantly a shotgun with which he uses to blast a lot of slaver orcs to Kingdom Come.
You couldn't miss the ads for that game if you were reading game magazines in the early 90s. It was just impossible. It was a 2-page ad showing Blackthorn and all of his I can't think of who the artist was who did the art for the game, but he did comics. I know that. Prime? You know?
Yes.
Jim Lee. Yes.
Wow, he got it immediately as you were talking. That's our Prime. Holy shit.
So, yeah, you could not miss that ad.
Yeah. Yeah, the game definitely goes all out with its style, and it just feels so almost gratuitously dark 90s comic book, and I think that's kind of part of why I like it as much as it is, because it's almost as reverent of that time in sort of like comics as much as it is almost feeling over the top, but take it for what it is. I just really like the overall atmosphere of Blackthorn. It is essentially, like I said, it's a cinematic platformer, so it is very much like Prince of Persia, except instead of the sword, you have a shotgun. Instead of being in, medieval Arabian times, you're in this, I guess it's technically an alien world, where, you're, the story from what I remember is that you're actually, the prince of a distant planet who manages to pass as human, coincidentally, because, okay. You get sent away, kind of like Superman, as, a really bad demon guy takes over your planet by force and becomes the tyrant, and then all grown up and pissed off, you then come back and claim your birthright one dead orc at a time. I think I'm probably missing some details, but that's the gist as far as I remember. And it takes you through 4 major areas. You start out in this really neat sounding mine with this really cool dark track that I like going for it. The game just really oozes style. Come to think of it, less Prince of Persia. I would say it's much more like flashback, come to think of it. Particularly since you have a firearm, and combat in both of those games is kind of like you sort of like hide it behind a cover in order to avoid damage, and you retaliate whenever you can. You can, in fact, hold up to just kind of go into the background at basically any time, but so can the orcs who have guns. There are several other different enemies to deal with, though, some who are quite a bit meatier. So you'll need to deal with some by throwing bombs in their face. Bombs of which also allow you to destroy structures to get ahead. But, for the most part, it does play very much like a darker sort of version of Flashback, where you got lots of enemies to take care of. You just, I guess, ultimately have to get to the end of any given level, and there are like 4 really long levels overall in the game. But I just overall really like the feel of how it plays. Like, cinematic platformers, as I guess is the subgenre, they can be a little hard to get into because of how, like, stiff the controls feel, and Blackthorn's certainly no exception in that sense. There are some tricky jumps to make. There's one jump in the 3rd area, which is extremely bullshit. I call it eggshell timing, a term I've seen because, like, you have to just be so precise with it that it's like trying to press onto an egg without breaking it. It's just really a bullshit jump that I remember having trouble with. It certainly gets harder as you go along. But the game just has a really nice blend of style and, like, sort of well-paced gameplay to it that I feel like it feels very unique from a lot of other things on the SNES at the time. I guess the SNES had darker games later into its lifespan, like, Mutant Troopers Doom Chronicles, for example. But, yeah, no, Blackthorn just feels kind of anathemic to what you would expect to see on the SNES, and I just, I miss these early Halcyon days of Blizzard, where they gave us this and Lost Vikings.
And the Death and Return of Superman.
Yes, and that game. It's undeniable. I think it's one of the most painfully mediocre beat-em-ups ever. It is kind of weird, though, because I think Blackthorn and Lost Vikings are excellent games. Death and Return of Superman is not, and Justice League Task Force really is not. But, they just didn't mesh well with DC, and it was probably better that they got away from those games as well. But yeah, do you guys have anything to say about Blackthorn?
I do.
Go for it.
I've sampled it from time to time. Never played it that long. Did kind of make me think of Flashback with a shotgun and a 90s anti-hero. But there's a part in my brain when compartmentalizing Super NES games. For some reason, this game always gets filed with games like Skulljager, Revolt of the Westicans.
Jesus Christ, that is not a title I expected to be mentioned tonight.
Oh, hey, there's bubblegum in it or something.
I don't understand that game. It's fucking weird.
You play a guy named Storm Jackson. How 90s of a name is that?
So true.
Blackthorn is a better game than Skulljager.
Oh, I believe it. I've played Skulljager, and it's not good. But
it really isn't, no.
But for some reason, my brain just files it in the same section. I don't know why that is.
That is a very weird game to associate it with. But, if it is what it is, then it is what it is.
Exactly. How about you, Jay?
Never even played it. Never. I've seen the cover, and it never grabbed me like some of the other ones out there. I didn't know it was a lot like playing Out of This World or Flashback or Prince of Persia. Well, I'm
Yeah,
kind of curious about it now.
yeah.
I played those. I played Out of This World. I actually have the SNES cartridge somewhere. Um, yeah, no, I never played it, so definitely curious.
Yeah, if you like those two games, I think you might like this one as well. Definitely give it a shot sometime.
Now,
I will.
Okay, go back to the chat here for a second. First, Snarb asked our thoughts on Rock and Roll Racing. I expect Sharon to chime in any second now. It's one of her favorite
Oh yeah,
games.
that was also by Early Blizzard. That's right.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a huge fan of that game.
I'm also mixed on it. I like the style, but I don't know. I don't love the isometric retro racing gameplay. Racers are kind of a hard sell for me overall to start, but
I think when it comes to isometric racing, personally, I just prefer to stick with RC Pro Am.
RC Pro Am, that is a good one. Yes,
Yes.
I like what I think. When I played Rock and Roll Racing is decent. I'm just not sure how much of a me game it is.
How about you, Jay?
I'm indifferent. I'm not huge on racing games to begin with. There's a few I do like, but an isometric one, it was okay. You know, I'm not gonna say no or yes. I don't know. It was okay, but I don't even think I own a racing game.
There's really only two racing games you need: Outrun and F-Zero.
F-Zero.
Mm-hmm.
F-Zero.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
I do like Mario.
What? Which one?
Mario Kart.
The original
Especially
or the later games?
I like the N64. The kind of ones I like, I guess.
You know, I have to admit, I've only played a couple of the Mario Kart games. But the one I liked the most was the N64 game.
Yeah.
The Super NES one, I think, is slow, clumsy, and I don't know what it is about that game. But it's like, it's no F-Zero, but then again, if you are.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. What I tell you, Sharon had to chime in. And then Prime is still wondering if Justice League Task Force is even really finished. I've never heard about it being possibly unfinished or not, so I have no idea.
That is a good question. Yeah, it feels like a very pithy game. Like, you think that DC fighting game would just kind of be free real estate, but they just really executed it just really iffily. Maybe it was just shat out really quickly because comics companies are large, looming, mysterious entities I wouldn't want to piss off. We didn't get a good DC fighting game until many years later with Injustice: Gods Among Us, but JLTF as it is, it's not even like a Kusoge fighter. It's not even really fun on that end. It's just blah.
So it's about the same quality as Star Wars Masters of Terras Kasai.
Interesting you mentioned that. I remember actually playing that one with Snarbu recently and not really hating it. It's not good by any stretch, but it's got some interesting tech in it. Right, Snarb? If you're there, can you back me up on this one?
They also named a character Horror.
Yeah, Horror's one of the better ones, too, if I'm not mistaken, as I recall.
Anyway. So, any other thoughts on whatever we were just talking about?
Blackthorn.
Blackthorn. Yes.
Dirk.
Horror has that.
Horror has that tech. Yep. You know, we know it.
He can grow, and his name is. Wait a minute.
He gets bigger, and he hits like a truck, as I recall. No, not like that, you pervert.
I was waiting to see if you were going to catch that. Exactly. I would love to have that as a sample we could use here.
That'd be excellent to have my tour with that. So
Yes.
and also mind taking whenever
Yes.
we have the same thought on anything. That would be great.
Yes, that too. Needle leap. Anyway, so if we're done with Blackthorn here, we'll move on. I want to try and cut this off around midnight, but if we go a little over, that's one thing. We've only got about 7 games to go. I think we can speed through it. So I will just preface my next choice with, if adventure has a name, it must be Indiana Jones. Because you're damn right I'm going to talk about Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures. I mean, yeah.
I would not expect you to.
If anyone remembers way back when we had a stream about Indiana Jones games, this is definitely one of my favorites. And I have recently played Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. But Greatest Adventures, and side note, to anyone who says there were only 3 Indiana Jones movies, I'm going to beat you with a crowbar. There are 5, whether you like it or not. So,
Exactly.
but because at the time this game came out, there were only 3 movies. That's all we got. But yeah, it actually covers Raiders, Temple, and Crusade all in one package. Yeah, there's a few things that were cut, but overall, it's a really good game. And typical Star Wars gets 3 full-fledged games, all separate by themselves, because it's Star Wars. And Indy has 3 movies smushed into one game. But Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures is better than the Super Star Wars trilogy. And I will die on that hill. What Greatest Adventures does, it does great. The cinemas are all digitized stills from the movies, and they look a whole hell of a lot better than the ones in the Super Star Wars games. Except for maybe Super Return of the Jedi. They're on about, equal footing there. There are some Mode 7 sequences. You get the in Temple of Doom, the raft ride after, Indy and Willie and Shorty parachute out of the plane with the life raft. So you get to go down Mount Hamal. And later on, there's the minecart chase, all in Mode 7. And in Last Crusade, you do get to pilot the biplane. Dad, are we hit? More or less. I'm sorry, son. They got us. The bosses can be an interesting bunch, though. True to the movies, when you fight the Cairo swordsman in the Raiders segment, one shot takes him down. But then when you fight Belloc at the end of Raiders, he's actually jumping around as the arc is open and ghosts are flying around. You have to knock out the ghosts and keep hitting him at the same time, which is kind of strange.
Yep.
And the strangest of all is when you actually fight Walter Donovan's reanimated skeleton at the end of Crusade, and he uses his head as a bowling ball.
This is the actual final boss of the game, yes.
Yes. They did throw in a lot of other familiar set pieces from the movies, like you fight on the rope bridge from Temple of Doom. You fight Colonel Vogel on the tank in Last Crusade.
That was really neat. Yeah.
They omitted the entire Young Indy sequence from Crusade, which is fine. For some reason, they had Nazis and bats down in the Well of Souls in Raiders. What? It's like, what?
That's a little different, yes.
Yeah. And you do get to go through Club Obi-Wan in Temple of Doom and the actual Temple of Doom itself, which is nothing like the Atari arcade game from 1985.
Nope.
But you do still rescue kids.
Yep.
The real ghost punchers. But you can also give Harrison Ford a 50-foot vertical. So he jumps in that game.
Yeah. You do.
So definitely out of all the indie games that ever came out for 8 and 16-bit consoles, that is the best. There's just no question about that. The only other one that even comes close would be the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles on the NES. Because let's not talk about that piece of garbage they put out for the Genesis. Well, they did a couple of them. Which one? Both of them.
Mm-hmm.
The Last Crusade game and Instruments of Chaos, starring young Indiana Jones.
Yuck.
I bought that when it was on clearance, and I still felt ripped off.
Oof. Yeah, I would too.
Only good thing going for that's cover art.
Yeah,
So, all right. Anyway, Jay, you have any thoughts on Indy?
Can't really follow up on what you said because you said pretty much. Yeah, I just recommend playing the trilogy. It's a lot of fun, and it's kind of cool that you have all the games on the one cartridge versus the Star Wars one where we sold it as one game at a time. But no, you hit the nail on the head. It's good. Go play it.
Yeah.
If you haven't played it, go play it.
Exactly.
It's Indiana Jones. What do you come on? It's Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
One of the best movie series of all time, in my opinion. I love Indiana Jones.
And it's in the era that so many people seem to prefer. So, knock yourselves out, kids.
Yeah,
that is true. That is true.
Mm-hmm. And Brandon, you said you read the book of Young Indiana Jones. Which one? There was a bunch of them.
Oh. Nice.
And Mike, your thoughts?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like you said, by default, absolutely the best indie action game from the '90s. Pretty much, like you'd think Indiana Jones would produce more quality video games, but for some reason, a lot of them were just really hit or miss, and that's really a shame.
Well, if Lucasfilm had given two shits about Indiana Jones, aside from whenever they were putting out a new movie, then maybe we would have gotten some good ones.
Yeah, I know. Again, if it's not Star Wars, it's not much, I guess, sort of doctrine.
The only reason the Willow games turned out as good as they were is because Capcom did them.
Yes, yeah, they should have at least license it off to more talent. But this was done by the same team who did the Super Star Wars titles, I suppose, and it carries over much of the gameplay of those, except I would say those games had a little bit of a looser feel. This game just kind of feels a bit tighter and more consistent overall, and while it's very tough and also very long, it does generally feel like less BS to deal with.
Well,
oddly enough, you do have limited continues, but you also have passwords, so those it doesn't really matter that much. You're not expected to do it in one sitting, and it is actually pretty long for an action game, but considering it's trying to get out the events of 3 movies in one go, that just kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this was definitely the best indie action game of the time. The only other indie game at all that came up to its level of quality was Fate of Atlantis, and that one was an adventure game with some actiony elements in it, but primarily.
I was gonna say though, you got to be specific. Remember, there were 2 Fate of Atlantis games.
No, the adventure game, not the action one, which that one was not great from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course it wasn't.
Yeah, of course not. And the Titanic adventure, I remember seeing that one, although I've never read it.
There was a young indie that went over the Titanic. I thought that'd be like fruit flies like a banana. You'd be all over that already.
Well, I saw
your interest.
I saw it once and kind of forgot about it till right now, to be honest. But I do remember seeing it. So yeah, that is something I should look up, because Indiana Jones and the Titanic. Yeah, I'm there. So
it's free real estate for you. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's swing it back around to Jay. Hit us.
All right. Well, I've been kind of saving this for the technically last of the top 5 anyways. There is something else. But
I know what this is.
It's going to coincide with my avatar for tonight. Series of games that are very dear to my heart. Probably my favorite action RPG games of all time. And this one is called Wanderers from the East 3. This is a weird one in the series, mind you, and I'm glad there's different versions of this one. A side-scrolling action RPG follows the story of Adolf Christian and his best friend Dogi going to Dogi's hometown, and action ensues. Monsters attack. People are dying. Kidnapping. There's a girl named Elena who falls for Adolf. Adolf is like the Bond of the games out there. Almost every game, one girl likes him.
Yeah, exactly.
But phenomenal series, though. Phenomenal music of the time. And there's many different versions of this game in particular, and the remake of Otha and Felghana, which is probably my favorite Ys game of all time. This game just got me hooked on the whole Ys story, and I wanted more. Little did I know that was going to be quite the daunting task of how many games there are in the series, and the chronological order of the series is all over the place now. We put Zelda on us. But beyond that, the storyline is really cool. Adol just crashes onto this island too because they were trying to go there, but somehow to their boat, at least in the newer version, which is a staple of Adol. He starts learning that there's things going on. Monsters are coming about, and there's a king or prince or something like, I forget the guy's name. They're trying to revive this demon that's on this island, and Adol just happens to be like, well, I'm used to an adventure and I like helping people, and he goes and starts the adventure and trying to save everybody in town. And it's a phenomenal little side-scrolling RPG game. Very unique of its series because most of it is overhead top. Not side-scrolling, is mostly overhead. But this one's pretty cool. I don't know. What else can I get into this? I can talk about Ys all day because there's so many games in the storyline and whatnot. But this one just is the first one I've ever played, so that's the reason why I always fall back to this one for some reason. And it's an amazing game. Amazing. Just it's hard. Ys is known for its difficulty, but yeah.
Ys, the ideal utopia.
Yep.
Once a country so peaceful and prosperous. A country where children were as free as the wind. A country where harmony blew through the hearts of all men. Alright, so I'll tell you my Ys 3 story. I first saw the Super NES Ys 3. But it was right around the same time I'd seen the TurboGrafx CD Ys 3. So I can't tell you which one I actually saw first. That memory's way too fuzzy. But I didn't see the Genesis Ys 3 until years later. I knew it existed, I just didn't see it. But the one I was most familiar with was definitely the Turbo CD game. And I will say that the scrolling in Ys 3 for the Turbo, when it's very choppy in comparison to the Super NES one.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got, full voiceover, CD music, and all that good stuff. So, in fact, my friends and I made a greatest hits video of all the wacky stuff we do on video back then. And I decided to open that up with a sample from the intro for the Turbo CD Ys 3. It's like you get the music, it starts up and, builds up, and then all of a sudden you hear, "Think back to your worst nightmare. The feeling of dark isolation and helplessness. The feeling that an evil force controls your destiny." And that led into it.
Nice.
But to be honest, Ys 3 is not my favorite. That honor goes to Ys Book 1 and 2 for the Turbo CD. I I have to say, if there's any action RPG that I truly enjoy, that's it right there. And technically it's 2 games, but still, they put it together as one. So, but Ys 3 is good stuff. I did start playing Ys 4, the English translated version, a while back for the Turbo CD as well.
Which version?
The Turbo CD.
There's just 2 different Ys 4, I believe.
Yeah, I think the other one was on the Super Famicom.
Yeah. This is the Mask of the Sun, I think.
Yeah, that's the Super Famicom one. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's why I was like, which version is this? Like, they got weird with the part 4, so
yeah,
that did get confusing. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. Like, does it have a subtitle to it? But maybe it's just called part 4.
Nope, it was. I can tell you the name here in a sec. Let me see. The Dawn of Ys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
But yeah, it finally got translated in English. Got a full English voiceover and text translation and everything.
Oh,
Yep.
nice.
That was a while ago, though. I started it and put it down. Haven't gone back to it yet. So,
Alas.
yeah, happens. Mike, your thoughts on Ys 3?
Solid action adventure. Definitely the Zelda 2 of the series at the time, to be sure. But it has a very kick-ass soundtrack. It moves very quickly, and even if Adel's actually swinging his sword now, blasphemy, where'd the bump combat go? I semi-joke about that because there are far, far more games now in the Ys series, which is still going today, believe it or not. Yes, that was very recent. But there are far, far, far more games now in the series that do not have the bump combat in them than do. They did pretty much ditch that when the series went to the Ark of Napishtim, which was like the first real big new generation one to go on. So in a way, Wanderers from Ys was just sort of predictive of where things would go. And yeah, definitely Oath and Felghana is probably, which is a full-blown remake of this game that makes it play like Napishtim but more refined and is based overall in 3 setting and story. And that is just a really freaking solid game, and it is probably also my favorite of the series, which feels like a very unoriginal answer at this point, but it's just really good. For as much as I love Ys Book 1 and 2 still, and I did recently actually beat the Dawn of Ys, the PC Engine CD Ys 4, and I have a very fun time with that too. It's just a really good series overall, and despite Wanderer's different perspective, I think it is just as solid as any other title in the series from this time. I didn't get around to Ys 5. I hear that one's kind of a black sheep, but, they can't all be singers.
The Primus Maxim at work, folks.
Exactly. As I always like to bring up. But, Ys 3 can definitely be tough. I feel like it's a little bit harder early on when you're going on the mines, and there's some early game hell that you got to deal with. Not that it ever gets really much less challenging as you go on, but, as you get better equipment and an overall feel for the cadence of the action, it certainly gets better as you go along and get stronger and whatnot. And, it's just a pretty solid action-adventure game, action-adventure RPG that doesn't overstay its welcome either. I think you can beat it in, 3 hours or so if you're diligent enough, but... I should note, however, that I barely have touched the SNES version. I went with the Genesis version of this one, which I got the feeling was maybe kind of the overall best in performance, arguably. But whatever system you play it on, the SNES or the Genesis, at least it doesn't have that aforementioned weird scrolling that the PC Engine CD one did. While that one has the best version of the soundtrack, it's just kind of that really choppy movement did it no favors, unfortunately.
Well, how about this then? Would you consider
What's
playing Ys 3 on the Genesis with the soundtrack for the PC Engine game?
That would be pretty fucking rad. Not that
Yes.
I mean, the Genesis version did do a really good job with the music, but I would not mind that either, to be sure.
It exists.
Nice. Very nice.
And I will say, speaking of the soundtracks for the PC Engine games, the soundtracks to Eastbook 1 and 2 and East 3 live rent-free in my head and have for the past 30 years.
Oh,
It's
same.
really fucking good.
Well, at least with these three, but like any more after playing books 1 and 2, the what is it, the PSP? You see, you have two different versions on there. The soundtrack is on all three games are phenomenal. Like, oh my god!
I'll tell
No
you,
question whatsoever.
the PC Engine Eastbook 1 and 2, I was listening to that the other day. So,
Nice.
so
Very
good.
nice.
So good. All right, then. Let's move on now to Mike. Hit us.
I've got a real weirdo for the last one.
Disqualified.
I was going to say, I wrote it down as 2 games. So, like, they are quite similar. Like, the latter one basically is just like an absolute expansion to how the first one goes. But, y'all remember the Super Scope at all?
Yeah, that was a...
Gonna recommend that, or not recommend it. I recollect.
It
That's what I meant to
was the next generation Zapper, except made bigger, clumsier, and bazooka-like.
It looked cool.
It was not an amazing peripheral. I'll be the first to admit that. Yeah,
Should've stuck
definitely
with a Zapper.
definitely clunky as balls. Nowhere near as sleek and elegant as the Zapper. Light gun games were much more of a thing for the arcade around this time. Home ports usually didn't. Oh, hey, Eugene, what's up?
Eugene. Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, welcome.
Hey, good evening, sir. Light gun titles in the 4th gen, kind of a weird space. Mostly the arcade was getting all the good stuff for light gun stuff at the time. Fifth gen would be much better with like arcade ports of like Time Crisis and House of the Dead and whatnot, but yeah, the Super Scope for the most part not an amazing thing. For as much as I played Super Scope 6 as a kid, that thing was a fucking battery vampire. You like inserted 6 batteries and it would be spent in like 90 minutes. It's fucking crazy. But we did at least get 2 relatively worthwhile uses out of the Super Scope for the duo of games Battle Clash and Metal Combat, which basically they're basically kind of sort of like boss rushes, like no, like, you know, mini enemies, mooks or whatever whatsoever. You just go one-on-one, piloting a mech, first person, fighting against other mechs in various parts of the world. It's got an overall international theme to it. Like, the first guy he fights in New York, then you go to Cairo, London, the Andes, and so forth. And yeah, you fight it out against really neat and unique looking floating sort of battle mechs that fire at you with their own projectiles, and you gotta hit them in their weak spots, which, considering that they're, you guys are, like, you know, dashing around from side to side, it can be kind of hard to hit, but, you know, you play for long enough, it's not as difficult as you think it might be. But yeah, it is basically like, you know, these sanctioned one-on-one mech fights. It's like a sort of future blood sport sort of thing almost, or oil sport in this case. But yeah, there's just really cool mech designs to go with, and they each have their like own quirks that you have to work around to know when to hit them and defend against them. Like, one of them, you're fighting in complete free fall, jumping off a mountain, and you're both like just flying all around the screen, and it is pretty fucking nuts. Yeah, that is the premise for both of the games. Battle Clash has overall 9 mechs for you to fight out against it, and the sequel Metal Combat follows like directly upon where the first game went, and the mechs get even crazier in this one. And also, as per a mid-game twist, you actually go to planets in the solar system after like the halfway mark in Metal Combat, so that's total serial escalation there. There isn't much of a story to these games, but the latter one does have a couple of interesting twists in it near the end. But there's just a lot of really cool mech designs. I remember in in Metal Combat, you fight, I believe I think he might be from Mongolia. You fight a pilot on the other side of the Great Wall of China, which is fucking ridiculous. And like, wow, this is just like, the style of these games is really awesome. And they're, for as clunky as the Super Scope is, I remember one day I just got motivated, like back when I had a CRT and a functional Super Scope, and I managed to get both of these games relatively cheap at, like, I don't know, some sort of swap meet or some sort of convention or whatever. And I played both Battle Clash and Metal Combat back to back. I beat both of them in full and had a really fun time of it. And then the batteries ran out of my Super Scope, and I never used it again afterward. I had no need to. This was the best use of it. Like, this was the end. This could not get any better, as it were. But,
yeah. On a side note regarding the Super Scope. Okay.
Yes.
We remember the Zapper. Remember how nice that was? It didn't need batteries. Yes. You just plugged it into the console and shot ducks or Hogan's Alley guys or whatnot.
Wait, you shot what now?
Ducks. Ducks. Yes, those things. Ducks.
I just want to use the thing.
I figured as much. And then Nintendo decided to make this weird-ass bazooka thing that apparently ran on batteries. But they weren't the only ones. Remember the Sega Light Phaser from the Master System?
Yeah,
it was the freaking Zillion gun. It was sleek and futuristic looking and awesome. It fit right in the palm of your hand. Mm-hmm. Then we get to the 90s, and what's Sega do for their light gun? This weird-looking thing with this giant fat gray barrel and like binoculars on top with a stock you could put on, and they called it the Menacer.
Menacer, that motherfucker. That's right. Oh man.
It's like,
times.
What happened with you guys? Why did you go from these, nice little handheld, sleek-looking pistols to these stupidly ridiculous bazooka rifles with fat barrels and binoculars? It was like, what gives?
Yeah, the 90s.
Exactly, Eugene.
Like, definitely. I blame Sega does what Nintendo does. I'm going to remember that quote, man. That's a good one.
That's amazing.
In fact, I think I will even give it one of these.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
But hey, I guess we got ready aim tomatoes out of the deal. So.
Yeah, the Menacer ate even more shit than the Super Scope. Like, that thing barely even had a chance from what I remember. It was a little shameful, but what can you do?
Yeah, Snarb, apparently they learned from their previous mistakes.
Somehow, yeah, for what it was worth at that time.
And look what we got, the Gun Con.
Yeah, no, that was actually a solid piece of kit.
I'll say it was.
Yes. Yeah, like I said, console-like games in the 4th gen sucked for some reason. They got good again in the 5th gen. And then the 6th had some decent ones, but it was falling, and then the 7th gen, no. My favorite 7th gen to shit on, but that's another stream for another night.
All I gotta say...
Or not, because I already...
I'll just say this. You get 2 Gun Cons, a PlayStation, and a copy of Elemental Gearbolt, and play like John Woo.
That's the spirit, man.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I do remember that Famicom machine gun. And yes, Snarb, Lethal Enforcers did come with a light gun that was far better than any of the crap that Nintendo and Sega themselves put out. Thank you, Konami. You had our back.
Yeah, the Justifier was pretty rad. Actually remember having one of those when I played Snatcher on the Sega CD. You actually didn't use it too terribly much throughout the game, but it still felt cool to hold, at least while investigating whatever you did in that game.
Sharon, regarding the U-Force and the Power Glove, how about no?
Times.
The U-Force was... I don't know what that thing was, but apparently it didn't do what it said it was supposed to do. And the Power Glove, that was worth it for a line from the Wizard. I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
And nothing else, ever.
Yeah.
And,
hey
there,
Techstark. How's it going?
Yeah, welcome.
Hey,
We're getting closer to the end of the stream, but hey, I appreciate your patronage nonetheless.
Yeah. So, now, I never played either of those games, Mike. How about you, Jay?
Same.
Huh.
But I barely played the Super Scope games, period.
Well,
man.
thanks,
I've never
fellas.
had one, so...
I don't think I've ever played a Super Scope game, to tell you the truth.
I don't think I know anybody who had one around my area, so yeah, I get you.
Eugene, I can see that, actually. They should have, because they were actually equipped for it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Exactly.
That does make sense, yeah.
All right, so we'll move on to my next pick, which is only one of the greatest shooters to ever grace the Super NES, courtesy of the guys that had our back, Konami. I'm talking about Axley. Because Axley is god tier among Super NES shooters. Now, personally, I still like Gradius 3 more, but that's me. Axley, though, just objectively, probably one of, if not the best shooters on the Super NES. And it's a doozy. I mean, well, for one thing, it alternates perspectives like Life Force does on the NES. Except instead of just being a straight-out overhead shooter for half the stages, Mode 7 kind of curves the horizon back. So you're flying along over this really, cloud-covered planet, and you can see how it just, curves back over the distance, and the enemies come over it, and you have a very small loadout at the beginning. You basically have your main gun, what do they call that one? I can't remember off the top of my head. Plus missiles. But it's basically a double gun that'll actually shoot up in front of you, and if you let the button go, it'll start shooting around and circle around to the back of your ship. And the bosses are all gigantic. And so it's all the odd-numbered stages are the overhead ones, so to speak, and the even-numbered ones are all side-scrolling. The bosses are all huge. First boss you fight is this giant mechanical spider. It shoots out an energy web. And, of course, the game's cover boy is this, I guess you'd call him a lava cyborg. A creature named Whaler. And you have to, uncover his mechanical heart, destroy it. And, I find myself almost at a loss of what to say about this game because it is that good. And the soundtrack is absolutely bitchin'.
Yep.
Oh. But you don't get a shield in this. You don't pick up power-ups. When you get hit, you lose one of your weapons. If you get hit and lose all your weapons, you only have just your regular pea shooter, and the next hit takes you out. You can be destroyed instantly by running into things, of course. But the game is fair. So, all I can really say is, if you've never played Axley, what are you waiting for? Stop listening to us. Go fire the game up any way that you can. And now that I'm done being that enthusiastic about it, Jay?
I concur. There's not enough you can say about this game. While shorter than some of the other shooters out there, I think there's only 6 stages, if I remember right.
You're right.
But the uniqueness, especially at the time, because there wasn't that many games that did the overhead and then side scrolling part as well. Life Force did it. There was a couple others, but this one took it to the next level with the mode 7 graphics and the music in the gameplay. It's satisfying with enough challenge, a little frustration at times, but it's a beautiful looking game as well. The graphics are just top notch for its time. There's not enough you can say about this game, and I would be gushing out for it too. It is one of the top shooters of the SNES era, if not of all time. And again, go and play it if you haven't played it. It goes up there with Gradius 3, Phalanx. There's so many good ones out there.
Yeah.
Actually, will knock it all out of the park with its unique gameplay, music, style, and everything else.
Yes, completely. Now, Snarb seems to be disagreeing with us here. But, you know, he's a Shakan fan, so we don't really have to listen to him.
Hey, low blow, man, low blow. He can like Shakan if he wants.
Oh my
Come on.
god! What?
If Snarb knows me like I think he does, he realizes I'm joking with him.
I sure hope so, Davey.
But yes,
Yeah.
Mike, you definitely got. Did anyone watch Tron on your last?
Yeah, that was cracking me up. That he just says like, I guess I wouldn't have expected either of you guys to really be all that familiar with a pair of games modeled around the fucking Super Scope of all things. So I accept that that's pretty much where the conversation ended. But I did, I did just want to say those are both really awesome games, and both of them are worth playing. Like if I said only one, Metal Combat is the more feature-rich one, I would say to go for, but I think you should just go for both of them when you can. So that's why I lumped them together. And yes, as Snarp said, I have exceptional taste. It's just not always good. I appreciate that you like all the weird stuff that you do, though, because no one else is going to stick up for it. I appreciate hearing about games that I would not normally hear about. God damn it! I've had this fucking cough all night that I can't seem to shake. It's really annoying me.
And you know, Prime has a point here. Axley was pretty big for the time, and just doesn't get talked about much now. And
it got oddly memory hold. That really sucks.
Just like Time Pilot.
Yeah.
And anyone who knows me knows that Time Pilot is my favorite arcade game of all time.
Damn Skippy. It's a good one.
Oh, what? You thought it was Splatterhouse? No, it's actually Time Pilot.
What a twist.
Ah, exactly.
Oh, what a twist.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was huge for the time. I specifically, that was like one of the last Christmases I ever got any video games from my parents. I specifically requested Axley that Christmas. And I did get it.
Nice.
Yes, we do need a Time Pilot revival. I'm in complete agreement with you there, Eugene. Absolutely.
Completely.
Apparently, it's coming to the Atari 7800, though.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah. All right. Now we've reached that segment, which we're going to...
Hey, wait. You didn't ask me about Axley, though, did you?
I thought you...
Nah, but we know what you think.
I think it's an awesome game. I
exactly.
like how... I like how if you only get like hit by a small bullet, you don't die outright, you just lose one of your weapons. I think that's a really neat mechanic.
Yep.
The style is just really freaking awesome. Yeah. I really like the boss that looks like a witch's hat before it becomes this gigantic fucking red laser death machine. Yep. The bosses are just all really neat and innovative. I do understand that some people are a little dodgier on the overhead levels, because I guess the perspective makes the hitbox seem a little weirder, but for as much as I played the game, that's never really bothered me all that much. It does take some practice, though. It's definitely not an easy game. I can't even remember if I beat it on hard, because normal is difficult enough, but it's, other than that, you're right. I really can't add too much more on top of that. It's just a really freaking good shoot-'em-up. One of the best in the SNES. I would put it up there next to the ones that you guys mentioned and Macross Scramble Valkyrie that I mentioned earlier. It's just really goddamn good.
Mm-hmm. It's like, the Super NES is not known for its shooters, but at least most of the ones it has are really, really good.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's underrated for the shmups that it does have. Certainly, the Mega Drive, the PC Engine and Mega Drive are the first and second best shoot 'em ups, consoles for shoot 'em ups at the time. I'm not sure if you can even call the SNES number three, but it did have a lot of really goddamn good ones. I think that aspect gets overlooked for the system.
And of course, like both of the other consoles you just mentioned, it did have its share of stinkers too.
Yeah, like
D-Force.
D-Force.
D-Force. Oh my god, D-Force. Anyway.
Yeah, you know how you know how that game has a hyphen in it. Mm-hmm. I like to think of it as that being a minus, as in its grade is a D minus. It is just that terrible.
D minus force.
Exactly. You got it.
But you could also say D is meant for the word dump force.
We used to call it Dork Force back in the day.
Dork Force. There we go.
I like it.
All right. So let's move on to what we call the lightning round. And in this, we're going to talk about our guilty pleasures. Each of us has one. So, Jay, kick it off.
This was a little harder to choose for this system. The system itself was my favorite system of all time, and next to the NES, of course. So I went with a kind of a weird action RPG that everybody thought was a sequel to another really awesome action RPG game called Secret of Mana, but this one is called Secret of Evermore. They have nothing to do with each other than some of the gameplay and menu scheme, I guess you could say. But it's a very weird game. It's a lot of fun. You follow this guy who gets lost in time, going to different time levels, and with his dog who keeps changing according to the time. So, like, if you're in the future, it's a robot dog. If you're in the past, you're a bulky dog. You know, it's kind of neat in that way. I like it because it's pretty unique in that regards for its story and whatnot. It's a Square game too, and I think it was done in the U.S. versus Japan for this one. I could be wrong.
Oh, you're correct, actually. There's a very interesting story behind that.
Yeah. But I like the locations you go to, the different timelines and whatnot, and the bosses are pretty cool. They're big and whatnot. And yeah, it's kind of cool. It's just an interesting, weird, quirky Square game that but I thought it was a Secret of Mana sequel. Little did I know when I played it. You know, like, oh, this has nothing to do with that. Okay, but it's still a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a very quirky game because of the guy, the character you play. He has these weird liners, and he kind of makes references to movies sometimes, and it's weird. It's a lot of fun too. So.
Okay, going to the chat real quick. Sharon asked about Super EDF, and I will say that it is secretly one of the best shooters for the Super NES.
That's also one I need to play more like Phalanx, although last time I didn't do very well at it. It seems pretty difficult.
Oh, it is. Don't get me wrong, EDF is difficult. Now, regarding Secret of Evermore, it was Squaresoft that actually created a U.S. division to start doing Japanese-style RPGs over here.
Uh-huh.
And apparently, they went into this with, you know, basically everyone who was an RPG or Square fan or whatnot was just completely bonkers over the idea. It's like, yeah, they open up an American branch, we get RPGs right here. They released Secret of Evermore, and apparently at the time it was a major disappointment. Or as one person I saw put it, the first attempt at an American RPG had pulled a Vanilla Ice. And that was the only game that the U.S. division ever produced. They shut it down.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah. So I know it has its fans. Obviously, you're one of them. I don't think I ever actually played it, so I can't comment myself. How about you, Mike?
played it. I've even beaten it. I kind of went on a sort of Mana marathon where I played Final Fantasy Adventure, which was actually the beginning of that series. Secret of Mana, what is now known as Trials of Mana, what would then have been called Seiken Densetsu 3. I played through that one 3 freaking times. It's a really good game, and it has, depending on what character, it has several different characters. There are 6 overall, but you can only take 3 with you, so there's some replay value there in the boss. And like the end levels change depending on who you pick. But in between all that, I also decided to fit in Secret of Evermore because like of its status of like sort of being a spin-off, but not really of the Mana series, but it does sort of have the same sort of action adventure RPG approach, and like the whole like hit the enemies, then you gotta wait for the percent to restore before you can reliably hit them again thing. I do consider it an honorary Mana game, despite its weird status of not really being that. And I honestly really enjoyed Evermore a good deal. I mean, I got into it from the beginning because me being a big Adventure Time fan, I actually did name the boy Finn and the dog Jake, because of course it's a type of dork I am. And I found the perspective really neat, where you went through like several areas that were themed after different epochs of time. The first one's like prehistoric, second one's like sort of Greek, like a sort of mishmash of like Greek and Egyptian and sort of like Mesopotamian sort of eras, and then the third one's all like medieval and castle-y, and then you go into the future for the finale. It's a pretty solid premise. It's got some really neat and interesting turns in its story and overall premise. It definitely has, like with Illusion of Gaia, I'd say that it does have some odd bits with its overall pacing. Some of the dungeons can be a pain to navigate, and I know some people like the marketplace bit with all the trading. Personally, I think that part's kind of frustrating. It's not really intuitive.
Oh, that's one of my least favorite areas, to be honest. You got to get the right items to the right people.
I think it's a unique premise. It's just not greatly executed, unfortunately. So the game does have its odd parts, like that one boss that you can only beat using magic when you don't have a lot of incentive to do so throughout the game. That guy sucks. And like the finale is just really also weird, because you get this bazooka that's overpowered and you just basically squish everything. I think there's also a glitch where like that was supposed to have limited ammo, but it just doesn't, because there's some coding error, so you just blow everything away. It's cathartic, but it does make the finale a little bit anticlimactic. So it is a certainly imperfect game, but I just really like its overall style. It's not a lot else like it is on the SNES. It does kind of remind me of Illusion of Gaia also, where it like, okay, fine, I'll wrap it up soon. But it's weird, and definitely imperfect, but I think more people should check it out. I think it got kind of a bad rap, but I think it deserves more a better reevaluation nowadays.
Yeah,
and
I consider it my guilty pleasure, just because of some of the things you said there.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't call it a bad game. I would call it a sort of under-respected one, at least. But I felt that the SNES was kind of lacking in like truly wretched shit games like we went over for the NES. Guilty pleasures were harder to choose out for this one. Also, Snarb, to address you, I never got around to Legend of Mana. I've heard mixed about that one. Some apparently love it, others think it's really where the Mana series already started to fall off the wagon. So I never played past Evermore or SD3 yet, but maybe they'd be worth looking more into. I don't know.
Got good music, I'll give it that.
Yeah, absolutely. The series does always have a great soundtrack to it. But I got quacked at, so I don't want to say much more.
Well, you're going to get to say some more, because we're up to your guilty pleasure next. But remember, this is the lightning round.
Yes. Well, I'll try and keep it lean. for as much of a weirdo as this one is, I'm not sure how much I can say about it, but I'm just going to ask if any of you are familiar with Evo, The Search for Eden, and if you are, you'd understand why I call it a guilty pleasure. The premise of this one is that you go through, like, the actual biological evolution of the planet's species, and it starts out in, like, I don't know, the something Zoic era or the Cretaceous. I forget the name of all the various periods of evolution, but it's like you're in like the primordial ocean to start, and then you become a reptile, a dinosaur, and then you become a bird eventually. It's not necessary, it's not mandatory, and then you go to mammals in due time. It's not mandatory or necessary, but if you play your cards right, you can actually become like a Cro-Magnon human as well. And Snarb is fairly familiar with Evo. It's a great concept, if not a great execution. Like, the concept involves, and it was attempting to do what Spore also attempted more than a decade before, and Sharon is also familiar with Evo. That would be a game that Ryan has, apparently.
Yep, I'm familiar with it for the same reason. I watched him play it a couple of times, but not enough to really know much about it other than that you evolve.
Yeah, it's evolution, baby. Do the Evolution by Pearl Jam.
Or that movie Evolution starring
Duchovny?
Yes, David Duchovny and Orlando
Sean William Scott
Jones.
Yeah, Orlando Jones. And I think what's her name?
Hey Tristan, how's it going?
Oh, even Tristan. I think we're near the end of our stream, but hey, good to see you always.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. But yeah, Evo involves you, like, you know, biting and, like, killing other animals, which is pretty hardcore, and then, like, taking their meat, which gives you experience points, and then you choose what parts of, not even, like, you know, specific attributes, like actual body parts, like fins and teeth and jawlines and whatnot, to evolve for your creature to give them different attributes, more strength or more speed or some other X factor or whatever. You can even get them to fly if you evolve it right. And I guess you could say it's kind of like an action RPG. You have like several concrete stages, and eventually you do have to get strong enough to, I guess, beat an apex predator, a boss at the end of the chapter, so to speak. And in theory, yes, it sounds like a really hardcore, almost metal idea for a game, practically. In practice, it involves a lot of very tedious grinding, and last time I played it, I liked it enough at some point to actually play it to the end and beat it. But last time I tried it, I did actually like the first chapter. I thought that kept the grinding minimal and actually had you mostly pushing forward. But as soon as getting to the second chapter, the pacing just felt kind of abominable. At some point, I mostly realized I was just picking the same stage over and over and, like, defeating the same, like, 5 enemies or whatever, just so I can get more meat points from them to evolve. And
the pacing just wasn't slow enough.
Since Rob, you're familiar with the game, did you kind of get that impression from it when you saw Ryan play it?
No, I watched him play it for like 5 minutes.
Oh, okay, you did mention that. So not enough to get a feel for it. I remember actually when I used to stream, I think I attempted this, and I eventually halted my playthrough because I realized, oh boy, if I'm not having fun with this, then what does the audience think? Jesus Christ. I definitely like the idea of the game. The setting and concept is really neat, but the execution... Well, apparently I had enough patience for it at some point in my life, but now I just think it feels more like work to get through than I think is acceptable for a game to feel like. and that is never a great feeling. So
That makes me think of games that feature unskippable forklift races and having to get a
that
job.
that was a very arbitrary shot to take at Shenmue. But
I'm
okay,
sorry,
fair
that's when
enough.
the game stopped being fun.
I mean, I recognize that, but I didn't think you'd bring that up when mentioning this. Although, I guess if you wanted to connect point A to point Q, then yes, it is not unlike Shenmue several years earlier in that it does kind of feel like, after a time, this whole evolution thing is starting to feel more like a job than it is a game. That's more labor than it is something that actually feels rewarding. It's an inevitability, but it's just a time investment that just asks you to put forth a lot of patience than any sort of skill. It's much worse with its grinding than most actual full-blown turn-based RPGs are of the time. And that's why I call it a guilty pleasure, because I do like the idea and I liked it enough. It's just kind of really hard to go back to. And also the music was done by Koichi Sugiyama, who sucks, so there's that too.
Well, Jay,
Just an offhand thing to mention.
got anything to say about this one?
I don't have much to say. I've seen it in action, but I never actually played it. I don't.
Gotcha.
And the reason why I never played it, it just never really captured what I was into at the time. So, but these days I'm usually trying new things out, a new type of game. So I'm willing to give it a shot. Yeah, at the time I never played it. I was always looking for the next big RPG or close to it. So, but it looks interesting, and the concept that you were talking about, the whole evolution side of it, is kind of intriguing now. So I may go back to it and try again.
Yeah, Jay, if you do give it a shot, I think it would be worth giving a shot as the RPG guy, so to speak, because I think it technically kind of qualifies as one. So I would like to hear your opinion and see if you actually find more interested in it than I do, or if you do think that, yeah, the tedium doesn't quite overcome all of its other good qualities. And Snarb asks if it wonders if there's a ROM hack for Evo to rebalance it like there is for Seventh Saga. That would be cool if there was a ROM hack that redistributed the grinding aspects to it so that there was a lot less. I think that would make it more palpable. You just need to punch that up, and I think it would become a more appealing game. It's just the whole millstone of needing to just do the same thing over and over that makes me call it a guilty pleasure than a true blue underrated game that I'd recommend. But it's a weird one. I will at least say that, if nothing else. There isn't much like it that is on the SNES. Probably for the reasons I mentioned, but yeah.
And there you go. It's as
I will check it out.
It's as unique
go ahead.
in its own way as SOS is.
Yeah. I'll let you know there, Mike, how I feel about it there.
Yeah, do let me know if you do. And also, yeah, SOS, not a bad comparison. Game with a really neat idea that's kind of a pain in the ass to actually play.
I'll say it is.
That is a very fair way of putting it, yes.
All right, so we've reached the final guilty pleasure and the final game of the night total. So, now it's time for me to throw you guys a curveball, because guess what? I changed my mind.
Oh, you're not going with Gunforce now?
Nope. I decided to stick with something that was strictly on the Super NES, was not an arcade port like Gunforce.
Now I am interested. Huh.
Well, you actually inadvertently foreshadowed it.
I did. Really?
Uh-huh. Brought to you by those purveyors of quality, Jorodon.
Oh, Jesus.
The classic tale of Japanese horror, whatever the English version said. Musya!
This is actually a good pick for the guilty pleasure section.
I'll say
Very
it is.
good on your feet thinking.
Because, oh my god, that game sucks.
It does, yes.
It looks nice. The soundtrack is interesting. Uh,
That's like how the first stage sound. It's just a
yeah,
constant fucking drum beat like that.
yeah, exactly. And you gotta love that bit where he spins his pike and it looks like he's getting ready for takeoff.
Yeah, I think that's actually a move that like Yoshimitsu has in the Tekken series.
Well, if you ever go back into our archives and look at the Dyer and Betty look at Musia, you just have to hear Betty's reaction to it.
Nice.
Check that.
But the controls are ass. It's just that's the biggest problem with it. It's like it wants to be a Castlevania type of game, but falls so short. So short.
And how?
Ugh. Now, admittedly, if games sold on atmosphere alone, this probably would have been a pretty big seller.
Yeah.
They unfortunately do not. But you basically you play as this Japanese pikeman named Imoto or something like that, who
That sounds right, yeah.
finds this village, and I guess the princess or the daughter of the mayor or whatever has been kidnapped by yokai or something. I don't remember. Anyway, he volunteers to descend into the Japanese underworld and get her back. Good luck with that, because you are probably not even getting past the first stage. Yeah, and the only reason it's that hard is because of the lousy controls. But, you know, I have a soft spot for the game. I don't know why. I just do. Every so often I'll fire it up and be just like, yeah, Musia. Okay, I've played it. Let me move on to something else now.
Oh, man.
But yes, my original choice was Gun Force. And the Super NES
Battle
version...
Fire in Gulf Terror Island.
Yes. And the Super NES version is definitely a step below the arcade game, which itself was a step below the sequel.
Yeah, Gun Force 2 is awesome, but
Yes.
not a lot of people have much love for the first game. It's not a bad title,
No.
but it does kind of feel sub-Contra, if that's a fair descriptor. I don't know.
Well, it's like Time Slip. It wants to be Contra in the worst way.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, we could talk about Time Slip for a minute.
Nah, we don't have to.
I'll just say this. There are so few games that actually involve time travel that are good. And Time Slip is not one of them.
Nope.
It is bad. It is very bad. It is... but it wants to be Contra 3 in the worst way. I mean, you just fire it up, and it's like screaming, look at me! I look just like Contra 3! I play like it! Except worse. And it's way harder. And there's these stupid stages where you're on these vehicles and you get shot down so easily, and just, oh, never mind, I'm going to go back now.
I give it a shot. I'm sorry.
Hologram Time Traveler. I remember playing that.
I also remember Time Traveler in the arcades.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever reversed a single one of those damn death scenes.
I couldn't get anywhere in that game. It was like...
me neither.
It was Dragon's Lair, but holographic.
Yeah, and probably even harder to control, as I remember.
Yeah.
It was a tough one.
And the less said about the myriad of Back to the Future games out there, with the exception of Super Back to the Future Part 2 for the Super Famicom, the better.
The better. Very much so.
And heck, as much as I like Super Back to the Future Part 2, it was definitely modeled on Sonic the Hedgehog.
For better or worse, yes.
Yeah. But it is also one of the only Back to the Future games to actually feature the Back to the Future music.
And it's really good. Wasn't it Hitoshi Sakamoto who actually converted that, so to speak, and handled the rest of the soundtrack? That is fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm. He nailed it, too.
No kidding.
But, you know, the game is just... It's such a weird take on Back to the Future Part 2. You can't help but to like it if you're a Back to the Future fan.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. So, give me 1 second here. There we go. But yeah, there's just not a lot of other good time travel games. Remember Time Lord for NES?
I do, but weren't we talking about Musia?
Yeah, but I went off on a tangent. So,
And you told us not to do those too much.
Well,
so what the hell?
I'm running the place, so
Don't worry, it all ties into Musia.
exactly.
Well, maybe.
The point is that most of these games we mentioned suck, including Musia.
Yeah.
But we do kind of have a soft spot for some of them here and there. Hence, guilty pleasures.
Indeed.
But yeah, Musia is my 5-minute guilty pleasure. Turn it off, play something else.
Yeah, I am kind of like you in that regard. I like the game's style, and I'm kind of a weeb, and anything that heavily draws on Japanese style, like as much as this does, with the yokai and the sort of, pretty neatly creepy architecture. It seems like it would be total candy for me, but it just plays sluggishly, and you feel oddly underpowered. Like, it takes 3 stabs to kill what should die in 1, and I don't like how weak I feel in this game. The first boss, which I think is some sort of evil Tanuki, takes like fucking forever to kill.
Yeah.
I think I did actually beat it eventually at some point, but then it's like I just kind of lost steam in the next level. It feels dull. It feels sluggish. It feels like it should have been better than what it is, and I'm sad that it isn't better.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's just something odd about it that just kind of draws you in every now and again. And, I really like that. I really like dealing with yokai, as my fandom of the Neo series attests. But it's just a shame this one wasn't better than what it was, because I would have liked the SNES to have had something like an equivalent to Kenseiden on the SMS.
Yes.
But unfortunately, this ain't it, Chief.
Nope.
No.
And
alas.
Meanwhile, off in the background, we can hear Dr. Vincent Gilgamesh screaming to be noticed.
Sorry, buddy, we didn't pick Time Slip. Go back to your colleague Cecil Ashurbanipal and get the hell out of here.
Exactly.
And also, Tristan mentioned Time Killers. That is a bad game.
Yes.
A very bad game indeed.
And, the whole thing of bringing people from different eras together to fight. This is one of the few times you'll hear me say this, but Eternal Champions did it better.
It did, yes.
And
there were actually, I want to say there were several fighting games that attempted that. I want to say, like, War Gods was another. I might be mistaken, but for some reason that premise usually doesn't turn out great, and I think Eternal Champions was just kind of by default the best handling of that sort of premise.
The sweetest word in the English language. Default, default, default.
Exactly. Exactly.
Anyway, so for everyone who stuck around, yes, this has been our favorite lesser-known Super NES games. So, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. We already said everything.
Eternal Champions failed its concept the least. That's a very good way of putting it, Prime.
Yes.
That says it all.
If only they hadn't jacked up the difficulty to near impossible levels. It might have actually been a decent game.
Yeah, there is also that factor to consider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I think that's going to do it for tonight. I don't know when I'll be doing another stream. I really don't at this point. I'm focusing the majority of my energy on completing my book, Nothing Man.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, if you follow me at all over on really the only social media platform I'm even slightly active on, which is Blue Sky, then you'll see updates about it there. But
nice.
Depending on what's going on, the next time I do a stream, you'll hear more about it. But I will say that we are down to editing the last few chapters of the book. And after that, then it's going to go through a read session and critiquing, and then a final polish before it's ready for prime time.
Nice.
And,
Hey, Greg.
hey, Steve. So we this should be a very interesting time for me. But yeah, other than that, this was fun. It was fun doing a stream again. And Mike, thank you for not being on vacation this time.
No, I'm usually not, so I guess I'll be around for the next one.
I mean, it was cool having Kyle on as a co-host, and I did appreciate that. But, you know, there was still definitely something missing. Because you've been here since practically the beginning.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a stream if I didn't get quacked at least once, so, you know, that's totally fair.
Mm-hmm. And Jay, again, always a pleasure having you on.
Yes, sir.
It was great to join you guys. Always down to do so. Great conversations and always learning something new, even if it's a game I've heard of before. Whatever conversation we're having.
Which reminds me, did you ever play Musa?
Yes.
Yeah.
And oh boy.
Yeah,
I'm with you guys. The first 5 minutes I would play it because I do like the first stage music. Then the gameplay kills it for me.
Yeah, it's just that type of game. There's not really much else of a bow I can put on it. That is how pretty much everyone feels, from what I know.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Jordan.
Yeah, what a weird company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. I thank you for having me again. Looking forward to whatever if you guys want me on again, whatever topic we do.
Yeah.
And for the audience, some of the games that we've talked about intrigued you, definitely check them all out, except for maybe the odd one. But, you know.
Yeah, it's like, by all means, go ahead and give any of them a shot, even the guilty pleasures, because you never know. You might see something in them we don't.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And no problem, Prime.
Yeah, that's good to hear, man. It's always great having you on our streams as well.
Oh, yeah.
You've always got a lot of rad commentary, especially for things that are generally somewhat beyond my station, especially for comic books, which, for as much as I like media based on comics, I still don't know nearly enough about the actual comics themselves. I'm kind of a poser when it comes to that end, but you're a real one for that.
You poser.
I am. Yes, I am.
So... Anyway,
I haven't read anything with Armed Fall-Off Boy in it, so I'm obviously not strong enough with the comics field.
Well, anyway, all that said, we're going to go ahead and sign off for tonight. So, everybody out there, thanks again for coming in, and have a fun.
Yep. Y'all enjoy now.
Cheers.